please welcome my guest for this evening, Luluna Rina.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for joining me, Lulu. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to see you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Actually, I mentioned this to you a couple days ago when we were speaking, and I was saying, I've been meaning to have you on the show for a while, honestly, that I found your streams. I can't remember how, but it was sometime last year. It's been a while,
Yeah,
actually.
it has.
And, just your general cheerfulness, your very laid-back vibe, you're very good at talking with your chat, and, for me as a talk show host, what's the number one thing I look for in a guest? That someone who can talk. And I was like, okay, I definitely want to have her on, but I knew that you had been working on a new model. And at that point in time, you had been working with a stock model, and I don't have a problem with a guest that is using a stock model, but knowing that you were working on something more individualized, I was like, all right, I'm going to delay it a little bit. I'm just going to wait because, she's only going to get better at what she does anyways, and I want her to be able to put her best foot forward and, have that real individuality. So you actually debuted this model. I think it's been about 2-3 months. It hasn't been
already.
Super
oh
long.
My gosh!
It hasn't been super long, but as soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, okay, it's gonna be time. It's finally gonna be time, and I'm so glad that we've made it here to tonight. So welcome on in. For anyone who might not be familiar with you, if you could introduce yourself.
Oh, this is the thing I'm absolutely the worst at. I never know what to say with a self-introduction. Hi, it's nice to meet you or talk to you. I'm Luluna Rina, and I stream just chatting on Twitch most of the time. Sometimes I stream games, but that's a little bit more rare. I mostly like chatting with my chat.
Well, you do indeed chat with your chat, and we're going to be chatting tonight, and we're going to be chatting with chat tonight. So definitely, folks, if you have questions for me, if you have questions for Luna, that this is going to be a really laid-back show tonight, that we're just going to hang out and, have a good time. That the way I sort of described it to Lulu when we were talking earlier is, I want this to just be another one of her just chatting streams, and that I happen to be fortunate enough to join in on actual voice tonight as opposed to in the text chat for once. But we were just listening actually to a remix of a song called HYPERSONIC that you did vocals on by, as I now know, it is SO87, not, or rather it is SO87, not SO87, other way around.
Yeah.
So yeah, scratch that reverse. See, even now, I'm still messing it up.
I'm telling you, SO87 Mamoto, the lyricist and composer of the music, they kept teasing me because they asked me to do like do you know what a producer tag is?
I know what a producer is. I don't know exactly what a producer tag is here.
So sometimes music artists want a little snippet of someone saying, hey, it's this music. So if someone tries to steal it, it'll have like, oh, by SO87.
Oh,
like,
yeah, is that the
Audio
Jungle?
Yeah, Audio Jungle. But artists like commission other people, whether it be voice actors or whatever it is, to say the artist tag before the music, or like in the music. And he kept teasing me, being like, you said SO87. It's SO87. I was like, whatever.
And I was telling Lulu before we went live, I was like, hey, by the way, I put HYPERSONIC in here, and I made sure to give SO87 a credit. And you were just so tickled by it that you were like, oh, good, I'm not the only one that's messed it up. And even now, I've continuously messed it up. And, even in trying to explain this, mixed it up. So there you go.
So much.
SO87, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but yeah, the way it's written, I absolutely thought it was SO87, not
See, I'm
SO87.
telling
you. But I'm trying to remember, was that the first piece that you've done with them? I don't think it was.
My first piece, like first music?
No, the first piece that you had done with SO87.
So 87. The first collaboration I had with So 87 was digital. It was out
Mm,
in like 20 like last year, 2021.
that's right. Do you recall how
Mm.
you got introduced to them? That it's always sort of interesting to me to hear how people get connected, especially when it's for this type of talent-based project.
Oh, I well, I met them through Discord maybe like 6 years ago. At this point,
Oh wow!
and we planned to do music 6 years ago, but only last year did we do music together.
Hey, well, better late than never.
Mm.
And it's a very fun beat, very cool song that I thought you did a great job on that. And you've done a number of other pieces that you've done a variety of rap collaborations. Actually, you actually
Yeah,
have your own Luluna Rina rap, which is a redeem on your channel. I'm not sure if it is still
yeah.
a redeem, but I know it was for a very long time.
It is. I'm currently using the old one. There's a new one that I'm making still. Was
Ooh, oh
supposed to go with
boy.
debut, but I didn't get it done in time.
It happens. It happens. Well, that's just one more thing for people
Mm.
to look forward to. Also,
Exactly, exactly.
I realized I missed a couple of follows during the starting soon screen. So, Torrance Tuno Games, Timothy Z123, and Pancake474. Thank you all so much for the follows. And thank you to all the new chatters. I see you in there. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Mm. Yeah, welcome in.
So, for your music background, was this something that, were you singing when you were very young? Was it something you got into when you got into high school or a bit later? What is sort of your music origin story, as it were?
Oh, it's really cringy. I started singing once I got a phone when I was a wee little lass. I got a phone. This was my second phone. I had a flip phone prior. Well, it wasn't a flip phone. It was a slide phone. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one with like the
I absolutely know
tiny
what you're talking about. Oh yeah.
full miniature
Mm-hmm.
keyboard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh no.
I had one of those.
If you had a full miniature keyboard, you were one of the cool kids. That
Well, I
it'd
still
be
am
just
very cool.
being able to.
No slide phone needed.
Yeah, no, but trust me. I'm not old, but at least for the VTuber community, I think I
Hmm.
qualify as boomer. That the fact that I can remember the days of flip phone and of Blockbuster is sort of the
Mm.
litmus test that I use of, all right, are you technically boomer in this community? That it's something that I've sort of had to adjust to, realizing, oh no, I am a little, not that much older, but a couple years older than the average, I think. So
Mm.
I absolutely remember the days of flipping slide phones, I can assure you.
Very, very epic gamer move. Gotta
So
flip out that slide phone. Once I got a proper like screen phone, I started singing on a karaoke app. That's how I got into singing. I was like, oh man, it's so cool, karaoke on my phone. No way. And I started posting from this karaoke app with such bad quality too.
Well, in your defense, I would assume that at that point in time, everyone's working with bad quality. That, technology was what it was back in that day. And honestly, the fact that you were doing anything means you were really in on the ground floor of, music media sharing back in the day. That if you were sharing on a karaoke app, because this would have been really before the heyday of social media, even.
I don't know about that. A lot of people actually had proper microphones at that time, and we're posting to YouTube. I was just still in my baby state, and I
Yeah, well,
was,
everyone
was
has their
singing
baby
from my
state.
phone.
Find me someone who hasn't had, the cringe, sort of modest, humble beginnings. That's how everyone begins. The fact is that you started and that you kept with it.
Yeah. I remember looking back semi-recently at my old karaoke app account, which is still up.
Oh wow.
And I did a phone recording with my friend at the beach at the time. I was like, oh my god, thank you so much for 200 follows. I'm so taken aback. I never thought I would get 200 people to follow me.
Back in the day, numbers were not as big as they are now. Just plain and simple. And, especially for that first time that you start to get any amount of the following, every single bit matters. And that I do not think it is embarrassing at all to, be super thrilled at the idea of 200 followers, especially as you're starting, that, it shows that you're being appreciative and that, you aren't really going in expecting anything, but it also at the same time very much shows how you've grown because, well, last I checked, you have a lot more than 200 followers.
Yeah, well, I'm not belittling my past achievement. It was just more like it looked so cute from how, as narcissistic as it might sound, it looked so cute when I looked back on it because I had such a,
Yeah,
my
and just
voice
like,
was so much different back then. I was so
yeah.
baby. And I was on the beach and you could hear like the wind.
That's kind of sweet in its own way of just, I assume that's a very treasured memory of you and your friend being at the beach.
Yeah, it was great.
Do you remember what the first big, well, I'm trying to figure out the phrasing here, what the first professionally produced song you did was and sort of how that all came about?
First, let me think. Well, I guess it depends what you count on being professional. I guess what I think of is if you got paid for it. I feel like
Okay,
it's professional.
so all right, well, actually, yes, I'm gonna ask sort of a two-prong at that point. That one, yes, that what was the first paid one, but then also what was the first one that you worked on, whether it was paid or not, where it was fully produced and that, it was mixed and mastered and balanced, even if it not,
Oh,
by a professional, that it was more than you record it and then just post it as it is. That, some type of editing and treatment was done.
oh, I think the first one I did, which technically falls into your category, was one where I used the do you remember the notes app where you can make audio notes? I used that to record a cover song. And I posted it to YouTube ages ago, like years and years ago. And I tried to mix it myself, but I actually made it sound way worse.
Oh no!
And I guess the first proper professional work I have done would probably be the I guess like real actual professional and well done would probably be the ReZero rap I did in last year.
Yeah. I feel very bad. I'm blanking on the name of the artist who did that, but you've worked with them. Please help Lulu. What was the name of the person who does the raps?
Do you want to take a guess?
I'm more likely to just quietly look it up.
I thought I would tease a little bit. Gotta make you uncomfortable. No, they're called
Rustage.
Rustage. Yeah, Rustage.
Yes, it gave me at the last possible moment. I swear I did not actually look that up. Yeah, you've done a number of pieces with them that those are variety of anime raps actually, and that's super fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So had you seen Demon Slayer before working on that rap?
Yes and no. I'd only seen a little bit of it, but because I was there for majority of the lyric process, like the writing, we would like watch a few episodes just to like get the feel for it, and I think he binged the rest, and I kind of like wiki paged it a little bit, and then I think I didn't watch all of it, just some of it.
That's fair. Trust me, I know plenty of people who work on content one way or another and have not either seen them source material, at the very least don't consume it. That one thing I've been pretty open about is that I work in games. That is what I do by day, and I as part of my job, have to, obviously work with the games, but it's the type of thing that at the same time, I'm probably not going to play the public release of the games that I work on as much of just, I'm a little bit too close to it, have too much involvement and might not do it. And I also know a lot of folks that either work in content or work in production or marketing for content, and that they do not actually consume in the entirety the content that they work on and help put out because you work on it so much. So in some ways it actually, I don't want to say it becomes tainted in that way, but it's the type of thing that you aren't necessarily going to spend your leisure time associating with something that you spend your professional time on.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I can understand what you mean, for sure. It's like,
But
I was on a No Game No Life song,
mhm.
and I actually quite dislike that anime.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I don't like No Game No Life either.
It felt a little sus.
Yeah, it's just I like the concept of No Game No Life. That I
Mm,
like smart characters doing smart things in shows. That's one of
mm,
my favorite just general archetypes. I like smart characters and smart writing.
mm.
And I'll be very blunt, Lou. There was too much fan service in No Game No Life for my taste that I felt it undermined the smartness of it all. That they kept getting sidetracked by
Mm.
fan service situations. And that might just be me. I know it has a lot of fans.
I totally understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I think it's enjoyable overall, but it had a lot of issues, and I was like, well, with a lot of things, whether it be food or anything I don't like, I'm always like, well, maybe I'll like it if I consume it in a different way. So
Hmm.
I watched one of the sequel movies. And it was awful. I don't think I could talk about it
Oh
on
no.
stream, but it was so bad. There was a lot of sexual tension between two characters, and one looked really young. I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
can't do this.
mm, yeah, that's one of the things of No Game No Life that just nope. I will pass on
I
that.
know it's got a hardcore fan base, but sheesh,
Yeah,
man.
like I said, I like the concept of it. It just give me a different set
Mm,
of characters or just less fan servicey characters that I don't have a
mm.
problem with there being a smart young character. That's fine. That can be super cool. Let's all right, yeah, we'll hop off of that particular topic before I get into a rant, even more of
It's
a
all
rant.
good. It's all good.
Uh, well, I suppose while we're on the topic of anime, are there any shows that you really do like?
Oh, I fall into like two categories when I'm watching like anime shows. It's either really brutal mafia or really sparkly idol.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm,
I like a good, fluffy slice of life and then my good actiony shows. So, uh,
yeah,
I'd say pick one of your favorites from each of those two categories.
I think my favorite idol anime, not because it's particularly like amazing or great, would probably be Love Live.
Mm,
Mm. And
and
my favorite mafia would have to be either, I think, is it 91 Days or Baccano?
Lulu, did we just become best friends? Holy, oh my gosh, Lulu. I was thinking, gosh, I hope she says either Baccano or 91 Days. And then
Mm-mm.
you just drop
I
both.
said both.
Holy cow.
They're
Not kidding.
really good. Come on.
Baccano is probably in my, it might be in my top 5 of all time. If it's not my top 5 of all
Honestly,
time, it's
same
in my top
here.
10. And
Mm.
91
Did you watch
Days,
it in English dub, please?
yes. Oh my, no, that dub is a
Yes,
masterclass.
that is the best way to watch it. English dub.
Yes, that I'm generally speaking a neutral party on the dub sub debate. That I
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
more
yeah.
subs than dubs simply by virtue of I watch a lot of stuff as it's airing, and even
Mm.
nowadays, usually the dubs come out a couple of weeks after the subs. So I'm
Mm.
just not really waiting. That's not because I inherently think one is better. Um,
Mm.
but when given the option, I will probably actually just default towards the dub because then, I don't need to spend as much time looking at the subtitles. I can have my eyes free to roam the screen and look at the rest of the production. But
Mm.
Baccano in particular is one that I say seek out the dub for it because it is just
Yes.
a clinic. The folks who worked on that were so good that I hold
Yes.
it up on the tier that a lot of put Cowboy Bebop on in terms of like
Yes,
all-time best
exactly.
dubs. It's so good.
Mm,
And then 91 Days
super fun.
is such an underrated gem that not many people
Mm,
know about 91
I'm
Days. That
surprised no one's talked about it, really.
seriously, that for those of you who aren't familiar, 91 Days is whereas Baccano is a combination of a comedy and an action I would definitely call it more action than comedy, but
Mm,
uh 91 Days is a straight up noir that it's got that mystery element, and it feels like a proper mafia film or series. Um, it's a short one. It's only 12 episodes. It has a
mhm,
conclusion, and it it hits very hard. It's not grotesque in any way, but
mm.
it is not afraid to show blood, and I think it's just a very well done show. I'm
Mm.
honestly so tickled that you literally dropped two of my favorite shows right there.
There's something about these mafia movies. They really have the vibe down pat. Like
Hmm.
it's definitely it's a vibe for sure.
Yeah. The other thing I tell
Well
folks,
executed and good story, good vibe. All
yeah,
around a good time.
mm, uh,
Mm.
and for Baccano, that it is one of the best examples, in my opinion, of non-linear storytelling in any media I've seen. And I tell
Yes,
folks,
it's very good.
you need to watch that show in a week or less. It doesn't matter if you watch like
Yeah,
2
you're gonna
episodes a day, 3
forget what
episodes a day,
happened.
but there's so much going on. There's so much packed into those
There's so many
episodes.
plot lines going on.
And it's the fact that it's not in order means that if you watch like 2, 3 episodes today and then wait
Mm.
2 weeks to watch another couple episodes, you will
Mm.
forget. And
You will forget
not.
because
Yeah.
there's a lot going on.
Hmm. But it's only 16 episodes. I do like the 3 OVAs on that. I think that it provides a more satisfying conclusion at the end.
Mm.
And, that's not a huge commitment to say, all right, watch 3 episodes a day or something for a couple of days and
We're
then you
not
can
asking
finish
you
it.
to like read the entirety of One Piece.
No.
It's a simple. It's pretty
Yes.
simple.
It's a very digestible series for sure.
Mm.
I don't have the patience for One Piece. I know it's a good series. For how
I'm
much
trying
anime I
so
watch.
hard to get into it right now, but
Oh,
there's so many spoilers because the new One Piece movie is out. Everyone's like, "Oh, let's pump out this One Piece content." I'm like, "Oh, avert your eyes."
oh no. Yeah, I have so many friends who love One Piece. I know that it's a great series. I know I'm missing out, but I would just
Mm.
rather watch like 100 different shows than 1,000 episode show. It's just so long.
I'm gonna be an advocate for my friend here. Shout out Rustage. He gave the analogy. Okay, think about it this way. You have a cupboard full of cookies or chocolate or whatever you really like, right?
Hmm.
Are you gonna be burdened by the fact that you have a lot of good stuff that you could eat over time? Because I think if you enjoy it, it's just more content to enjoy.
You
You're not being
know?
pressured. No one's behind your back saying you have to eat all of these cookies. You have to consume all of it. If you eat one, you need to eat all of them.
You know? Okay, Rustage. Well played. Well played.
Mm.
I guess that I'm not even the type that has to necessarily finish every series they start. I will
Mm.
drop a series, and
Mm.
sometimes I'll do it, even just an episode or two, and if I realize, right out of the gate, okay, this isn't for me. And I guess maybe it's that I'm so confident that I would like One Piece that I'm like, oh, I know there's so much and I know it's so good. And it's not necessarily that I'd feel pressured, but because I'd want to, and then I worry that it would take my attention away from so many other things.
Well, I think like a lot of people who have actually got caught up with the series, I think they just consume it whenever it comes out. So you could do the same
Yeah.
thing where you kind of like ration it out.
Hmm.
I
Okay,
totally get
oh
what you mean though.
no. Oh no, this is not what I signed up for tonight, folks. I didn't expect to get convinced to finally actually watch One Piece.
I've been told you need to read it. Don't watch it.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's also very different because I can
Because
read
there's
at
a
a
lot of
much
like
faster pace than
whatchamacallit,
watch.
a lot of bad filler and pacing apparently. So I've been told you
Mm,
need to read it, and that's the
okay.
hard part for me. I like reading manga quite a lot, but I'm more enticed to be doing something else, like eating food while watching something, than I am to like actively be reading while eating, I
Yeah,
guess.
and I guess for me, it's that I like experiencing things that you only get to experience a twist or a reveal once. And for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
so much more powerful if I can experience that twist or that reveal or that big moment in motion, in color, with music, than in black and white stills in manga.
Mm-hmm.
So I will read manga, but I am much more prone to just watching the anime. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
since, you can read much faster than you can watch, that's where there's that tension there. So
Mm-hmm.
we will see. We will see.
For
And then you
sure.
mentioned Love Live. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Love Live is one I point to that as the catalyst for idol anime and idol culture in the West. That obviously idol culture has been a thing in Japan for decades. It is not new. Love Live did not break new ground there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Love Live was the first one that really took off here in the West, and that it then opened the door for a lot more idol shows to be greenlit down the line, because it was now no longer a regional appeal, that it really broke it
Mm-hmm.
out into a more global appeal.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the one thing, surprisingly, that I think Love Live did differently, which made it quite successful, is it was just schoolgirls doing idol things.
Hmm.
um, because there was things that there were shows prior, like um, m- uh, Macross or a lot of other things where you have like idol girls who are in space doing like space mecha things and dancing in space, and people are like, wow, that's very cool. I think it limited the appeal in general though, because sometimes you just want to see some cute girls doing cute things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
And I know for me, actually, the second season of Love Live hit me particularly hard because of circumstance. One of the last big plot points of season two, and I don't consider this spoilers because
Mhm.
I'm saying something that's pretty open in the series, and I'm not going to say how they
Mhm.
resolve it, but one of the
Alright, alright.
last big things that they cover is the third year's getting ready to graduate, and the concept of
Mhm.
what is going to happen to the group after they graduate. And
Mhm.
this was airing during my senior year of college, where
Oh.
I had been
Mhm.
very heavily involved in two musical organizations on campus. And
Mhm. Mhm.
so I felt a little bit of parallelism, that I was watching this show, these last couple of emotional episodes about seniors getting ready to graduate and being seen off, but then also, seeing off their kohai as they
Mhm.
prepare to go into the world after having this connection. Meanwhile, I'm prepping for my final concerts for these two
Mhm.
organizations that I'm part of. And just with that parallel, just I don't usually see myself in shows, and obviously it's not a one-to-one. I wasn't involved in idol groups, surprise, surprise, but
Mhm.
it's still
What?
pulled
You
at
were
my
you were in a
toe.
school idol?
I wasn't, I
I'm
must
being
confess.
misled.
Ugh.
I was
but
talking to former school idol.
but it did hit pretty hard for me.
Wow. So you're not gonna come out here and hit me with a moi moi kyun?
Oh, I never said I wouldn't do that.
I see, I see. I actually didn't watch the second season of Love
Oh
Live.
no.
I'm a hardcore fan of first season only.
Okay, okay. Well, the second season is very good as well, and
Hmm.
the first season, obviously, it's what set everything up and led to what I think is now 5 or 6 different Love Lives that I
Yeah,
watched.
I didn't keep up. I know
I
there's
didn't. No, I
Superstar
didn't
and
either. There was like
the Aqua
Sunshine,
season and Sunshine.
yeah, and now they're on with some
Mm.
other ones, and I'm glad that
They're
there's
coming out with
more stuff.
VTubers as well. Did you know?
It, I did not know, but I am not surprised to learn that.
I'm
I'm
not
not
surprised
surprised at all.
either.
That
I think it
sounds,
makes sense.
yeah, it sounds very in line with that franchise to do that, and I'm glad that it's kept
Mm.
going. That eh, for those who are the die-hard Love Live fans, that they
Mm.
continue to be able to have the new content coming out, and that I'm sure it's
Yeah.
still fine quality. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not as, I suppose, monumental as the first season of the first series was.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of series that are, still coming out and people being able to engage with it after a long time, because, oh gosh, I'm now realizing it's been about, it has not been 10 years since I graduated college yet. So it's not that long yet, but it's getting close to it. But that last night, actually, you were playing Pokemon for the first time. And I'm someone who very much grew up with Pokemon, that I played
I know, everyone
firsthand.
has.
But at the same time, it's like, I do not judge you for having not played Pokemon. I was super particular. I was like, oh, this is such a rarity. I don't get to watch someone who's never played Pokemon every day. And it was very fun seeing you just sort of tinker around, and just, there were things that me, as someone who has played Pokemon for a very long time, that I know a few more strategy things, and I know, all right, this move is generally a little bit better than that move. And it was fun seeing you experiment and learn and experience that world for the first time. And near the end of the stream, one of the just most delightful things, you got the bicycle, and
Yeah.
you were living. You
I
were
was
having
living.
the time of your life.
I did. Well, the one thing I didn't expect is you could still jump fences with a bicycle. I was like, oh my god, what are we, Tony Hawk Skater Pro 2 in here?
Okay, so those things that you were jumping over aren't fences; those are ledges. So it's saying that you can go downhill still. So you aren't quite doing like
Wait,
these.
they're not fences?
No, not the ones that you can go over. There are fences, but you can never go through fences, whether you're on foot or on a bike. But
So
those little
the
things
fences
that,
are the white ones.
yes, I think, but you can't go through the fences. Maybe I'm thinking of something different.
I swear, well, I thought the small brown ones were not ledges. I mean, it's a pixel art style, so I thought they were like brown picket fences instead
No,
of
those are ledges.
the white ones.
Yeah, the white ones are definitely fences. And I don't think you can never go through those. But the little brown ones, those are not fences. Those are
the brown ones. I thought they were just shorter, smaller fences that you could like jump over.
Now that you say that, though, thinking about their visual, that's not a preposterous thing to say. I can see why you would think that.
I just thought they were small
that makes sense.
wooden fences.
But no, there are ledges. That's why you can go down one side, but that you can't go
I
back
thought
the
we were
other
doing
way.
some sick tricks, okay?
No,
I thought we were doing some sick tricks on
hey,
this bike.
No, you're still doing jumps off those ledges. You're still doing sick tricks of a sort.
I know. It's not as cool as, like, absolutely jumping over a fence with a huge bike.
I'm so
that we
sorry.
Just
I've
got for
crushed
free
your
from an
dreams.
old man on a boat. And anyway.
Yeah. Also,
Well,
Helshi, thank you for the follow.
That's quite the discovery. I thought those were fences. Well, thanks for
Uh,
making sure I don't look like a fool, an absolute fool.
There's so much cool stuff that you have still to experience, because you're still, I'd say you're in the first third or so of the game. Probably about that.
It feels like it's been going on for so long, though.
Well, because you just got the third or fourth badge, right? I think.
I think it's the third one.
Yeah, because there's 8 badges, and then there's the Elite
Electricity,
Four.
I think.
Yep, yeah, that was Lieutenant Surge. That's the third badge. So yeah, I would say that's about the third, 1/3 point of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a lot to look forward to.
That's good
So-
to hear.
Going into it, how much did you know about Pokemon? That you obviously, like you said, did not play any games. Did you ever watch the anime at all, or is it just, you had a vague awareness of what Pikachu was, and that's about it?
I have a vague awareness of really, like, random Pokemon that people sent me pictures of, but I don't know what they're called.
Okay.
I think it's because my friends at the time knew I knew nothing about Pokemon, so it'd be like, okay, what do you think this one's called?
Oh yeah,
I'd be
just
like, trash bag, and they'll be like, haha, that's so funny. What about this one?
Well,
But they wouldn't tell me the legitimate name.
oh no.
So I've probably seen a few, but that was like years ago. So
Well, now that you're actually playing through for the first time, do you have any favorites so far?
the little green one, it's like a leafy looking one, and it
I'm
has a good
also
smile.
I'm also now realizing that you nicknamed all your Pokemon, so you're
I
not
nicknamed
actually
all of them.
so
I
you're
don't
not
know what they're
learning their real
called.
name. Oh, I was like, wait a minute. Oh no. Is it the one with? Is it blue with 3 leaves on its head?
Yes, that one.
Oddish.
Doesn't have a good smile.
Yes, it is
Okay,
a very
okay.
smiley little
It's that
thing.
one.
Yeah, it's called Oddish.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, I remember. I named it Goddish.
Oddish. Yep, there you go. Okay. Well, now the only problem is going to be when Oddish evolves into something that is not Oddish,
Does
but
it
it will still
still
be
have a good
Oddish.
smile?
Yeah,
Uh-oh. You know, I was heartbroken when my
Everyone in the
rat
chat
turned
who
into an
knows
ugly one.
Pokemon,
I was absolutely livid. Well, not livid. I was heartbroken. It turned real ugly.
I will let you know, the evolved form of Oddish, I'm so sorry to tell you, Lulu, does not have a good smile at all.
No, that was
What?
the best part.
But I have good news.
Oh,
The thing it evolves to after that does have a good smile.
okay.
That the final
it's all worth it in
evolution
the end.
has a good smile.
Well, I like it for its good smile. So as long as it's got the good smile, we're good to go.
Mm-mm. Also, Pokemon Trainer Storm, thank you for the follow. Yeah, you came in at the right time. Yeah, no, they know what I'm talking about. That
Oh God.
I'll,
It feels like
I'll
everyone
just
is
tell you.
letting on a secret that
it's
I don't know about. Disaster
the
about
name-
to strike.
The name of Oddish's evolution is literally Gloom.
Why? I guess we'll see when we get there, huh?
Yes, you will see when you get there. And I'll also let you in on the secret. You don't evolve Gloom by leveling it up like you do for most Pokemon. That
Huh.
if you find an item called a Leaf Stone, hold on to it. That is what you can use to evolve Gloom. And, you know, the advantage actually of a Pokemon that uses an evolutionary stone is it can evolve at any time. So you could have a Gloom and then immediately give it a Leaf Stone and you'll get the final evolution, which is much, much cuter. There's a slight disadvantage. I'm getting a little bit into the nitty-gritty of the game here, but when a Pokemon uses an evolution stone, it then can no longer learn moves naturally through level up, so you'd have to use TMs. And that's sort of the difficult part. I won't let you know what the final evolution is, but especially as a new player, I feel like you should know that it takes an item, because otherwise you might be trying to level it up thinking, oh gosh, why is it not leveling up? Since it is your first go around. So if you find an item called a Leaf Stone, definitely hold on to
My
it.
chat's always very nice. So, well, most of the time my chat's very nice. So if I had a question, I'm sure they'd tell me spoiler free. They're like, you might need something a little extra. Maybe look around somewhere.
Okay, in that case, I hope I didn't just spoil too much.
No. It's all good.
Yes, you have so much to look forward to, and I assure you there are many other cute Pokemon that you will be encountering as you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the most epic gamer team you've ever seen.
Yeah. Zerastro channel, thank you for the follow. Hopefully I pronounced that right. What was it that made you decide, all right, after all these years, I'm finally going to play Pokemon? What was sort of that turning point moment?
It was actually my friend who was like, hey, you've never played Pokemon, but you're a streamer. You know, it's super rare. You should stream it and say you've never played before, because you've never played.
They're not wrong.
And I think people will enjoy it. And I was like, wait a second. I think you're wrong, because watching someone struggle through something that you already know about can be a little bit infuriating. So William's just annoying to watch. But it seems like people are enjoying it so far. So hopefully I'm not irritating any pro gamers.
I think you are doing a good job of presenting yourself as, all right, I'm here to try this for the first time and have fun. And that, usually people understand, all right, this is someone's first time doing a thing, so they're not going to know the pro strats and all that jazz.
Yeah, no, I'm not tryharding, sweating, malding. I am I'm just here for a good time.
Was there something that made you decide to go with Fire Red? I guess that was just because it was the first gen that you wanted to play that first one. Oh,
I did a
Apollo.
poll. People were like, "This is a good one to start with." I trust my viewers to lead me in the right direction.
Honestly, I don't really think there's any. I don't think there's any mainline Pokemon game that isn't a good entry point. That they've been very good.
What about
years.
League of Legends Pokemon?
Oh wait, what?
You heard about the
Oh yeah,
they made a MOBA, right?
Yeah. Sorry, but like I said, any mainline Pokemon game that.
Oh, is it not mainline?
Well, I would consider Pokemon Unite is what the MOBA is called. I would consider that not to be a mainline game. I'd consider that a spin-off that, like, you know,
oh, I see.
one of the normal Pokemon games. So, you know, it's just, you know, Pokemon battling in the turn-based way, as is sort of the standard way. That I don't think that any of those are the wrong way to get into the series. And honestly, you know, if you're into MOBAs, then good for you. Hopefully you enjoy Pokemon Unite. But that's not a traditional Pokemon experience, to be sure.
I wouldn't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah, but your chat did not lead you wrong that what you're currently playing is a remake or sort of a remaster, really, of the very first game. So
yeah, the first one.
Yeah, so you're getting that first time through experience as the folks who played the first games did. So I think that is a totally legitimate one. That the sort of default when someone asks me, hey, where would I start? I would say either start with Gen 1 or just the most recent gen. But if there's another one in between that appeals to you, go for it. And I'm glad that you are enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it's been great.
Are there any other games that you hadn't played before streaming that you got into specifically because, all right, you know, I'm streaming and I'm gonna try this new thing?
Try new games? Oh, I played Apex on stream once. And I had never played an FPS game before. So I expected it to be, like, easier, because everyone who's been playing FPS games who streams it is really good, so I had bad expectations going in.
Oh, yeah. No,
I thought it was just gonna
it's
be
one of those things
easy.
that they make it look easy because they are good.
They've got muscle memory. They've got those gamer skills. They be sweating for real.
Yeah, no, I am garbage at first-person shooters. I'm garbage at third-person shooters, too, but especially first-person shooters, so it's the type of thing that I do not play them much because I know how good a lot of other people are, that there's sort of a barrier to entry in terms of skill sets that
it's a sharp learning curve. Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I opened it up. I played Fortnite, was like one of the first ones I tried, and they didn't tell you how to leave the bus. So I got stuck there for a good moment.
Oh no.
And then I didn't know what Battle Royale meant. I just thought that you were just battling, I guess, like something, because I hadn't watched any players previously.
Yeah, well, if you don't have
and then a whole bunch of children with pickaxes came up to me and they killed me, and I was like, oh my god, what?
Just the sentence of a bunch of children with pickaxes came up to me and killed me.
They killed me. I had a pickaxe too, I think, but they shot me. I was like, yo, what? What's going on?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, especially because it is a battle royale. That I would generally say if you want to sort of make that journey and get into FPS games, that you do ones where you can be fighting against the computer for a while. That, you know, whether it be Call of Duty or Halo, that way you can actually, you know, have that environmental opponent. Because facing human opponents, especially in a competitive way,
they're so good.
Yeah, that you're gonna have a lot of people.
Children on the keyboards are absolutely menaces.
Yeah, it is startling how good some people are at those games and how good they get, you know, at surprisingly young ages. I feel old saying that.
The generation of gamers.
Still, at the same time, it is cool to see kids really growing up with games in that way. That, yeah, it's not what we're used to, but at the same time, like, I'm happy that they're able to have that experience and that they're able to, you know, growing up for folks in our age range, just you were really lucky if you were one of the folks who had a Game Boy or if you had an N64 or a GameCube or something. But nowadays, consoles, one, are so much more available. You know, the most recent Gen 1s, PS5 and Xbox Series X are still a little bit
Mm.
hard to come by, but PS4s and Xbox Ones still work very, very well, and you're able to play these games on there. And if not, so many games are now available just on PC that you
Mm.
can do all these things even without having to do any of that. There are free to play games like that you don't need to be spending a whole bunch of money on the
Mm.
console and the game just to start playing. That it's a really cool thing that wasn't available even really 10 years
Mm.
ago.
Yeah, for sure. Um, there's a lot of games that I think people grew up with. I never got to play Pokemon and that stuff, but you know what I really grooved on as a kid? Those this I forget, is it like Spy Fox games at the library? Or like
Oh
Putt Saves
yeah,
the Zoo? Bro,
Humongous Games. I think
incredible.
that was the company
Yeah.
name.
Incredible. Pajama Sam, I'm telling you, OG
Mm,
gamer here.
mm. Are you
Library gamer.
familiar with a VTuber named Meat?
Meat. I think I know a Japanese VTuber that's called
No,
Meat, but you
she
might
is
be
not
talking about someone else.
Japanese. No, that I bring her up because she is a past guest of mine. Very, very nice. She is a silly cave woman, and she has on
I
stream
like that
played.
sentence. It's really good. A
That is how
silly cave woman.
that's her words, not mine. She introduces herself as a silly cave woman.
Mm,
But she has played through the library of humongous games. So, Pajama Sam, Spy Fox, that
incredible.
she's been into that. And then, yes, Noite, she does go Unga
She does
Bunga.
go Unga Bunga.
Yeah,
Incredible.
not even joking. There is an Unga Bunga redeem on her channel.
Incredible.
Realizing the little bot that was supposed to be shouting you out has not been doing so.
That is all good.
I will do that manually. Ha.
It is all good. No worries.
Yeah. But if you are into the Humongous Games library, that she streams usually those or other ones of that variety at least once a week, so you might want to check her out. But I didn't exactly grow up with those games. That was just like 1 or 2 years off from me. So I played a couple of them. Like I remember playing Freddy Fish. It was 2 or 3. I played a couple of the Putt games. I never played one of the Spy Foxes, and I didn't play any Pajama Sam ones. But I'm still close enough in age to that to very much remember when they were super popular. That I think one of my siblings was really into them. So I'm very much aware of those games. But yeah, the ones that I did play of Freddy Fish were really, really good and fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any favorites from that sort of library?
Not really. I don't remember much, but I just remember that my little monkey brain was like, "Oh, I can click on anything and it'll move."
They
Eyes
were very
open.
good about just the interactivity, and even if it wasn't something that was important or progressing the game, that you could click on these things and they would just do little fun animations or
Yeah,
have a
for
little
sure.
joke or a little gag, and that they were very environmental games in that sense.
Mm.
And I remember whichever Freddy Fish it was like the search the mystery of the missing conch. And basically somebody had stolen this ceremonial conch shell, so you had to go around finding clues and then eventually like find the thief in this weird little ruins and then unmask them, and it was very fun.
Yeah, totally.
Are there any other games that you've been playing particularly recently? That I know you actually don't play a ton of games, so actually seeing you playing Pokemon yesterday was super fun because, like I said, you do a lot of just chatting streams. But are there any others that you've been playing recently?
Any recent games? I'm a huge rhythm game fan.
Ooh.
It honestly probably stems from my Love Live addiction, because when Love Live came out, they came out with a phone game.
Yep,
That was
yep.
a rhythm
Yeah,
game.
School Idol Festival, I remember that,
Yes,
the little tambourine
yes.
sound when
Hmm.
you hit the circles, and I've
I
since
was
learned that
so big
apparently
into that.
mm, I remember that was one of the first mobile games that I really got into,
Oh my
um,
god.
and I never monetized on it, but
Mm.
it'd be the type of thing that I was like, "Oh, I know that my" I forget what the energy point thing was, but the things that, every 6 minutes that you get a point, it was like, "Oh, my energy bar is back to full, so I wanna play some songs."
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. I used to be really into like the gotcha system. I'm not a big gotcha fan, but because I was a big Love Live fan, I was super into that game.
Mm. Yep, yep, yep.
I used to watch really in-depth math videos about it. And like best team comps, like for
Oh,
different
yeah.
songs and all that stuff.
Oh,
But I think my
wow.
addiction has shifted now to like Muse Dash. I think that's my most
Mm.
played game on my stream.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I have not played Muse Dash. I have a couple friends
Mm,
who do. Actually, another one of my past guests, her name is Snee.
mm.
No, wait, that's not right. I think it was
It's all good.
actually
It's all good. Take your time.
Snee VT, I think it is. But
Hmm.
she's really good at Muse Dash, and that she has been able to, in the past, like get full combos on expert difficulty songs while interacting
Mm,
with chat. And I've just watched it and been like, "That's
mm.
disgusting. How do you do that?"
Yeah, it's difficult to chat while playing these type of games, but I always try my best too.
Mm, uh,
I hope to in the future be able to submit more music to the I think it's the Pero Pero team. I have in the past, and I'm in contact with them. So hopefully
oh,
in the future, I hope to have a Muse Dash song.
that's super cool. I didn't know that you could actually submit songs to them.
Yes, you can.
Ooh, I that's really neat. Like I said, I've never really been into that particular game, but the fact that you
Mhm.
can actually contribute in that way is really cool. Is there a
I think they already have
application
set.
system or?
Well, I think they already have set artists and whatever it is that they reach out to, but they're open to listening to other people. So it just
Mm-mm.
depends on if you're reached out to or if you submitted and they got in contact with you.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be super cool. That Pokemon Trainer Storm in the chat says Lulu and Muse Dash by the end of the year. I think that'd be super cool.
I remember last year's my mini model. Whenever I'd stream Muse Dash, I had it set up on OBS where whenever I used the like four hotkeys that I use for the up and down notes, that I would switch my mini model to hit it on the Muse Dash screen.
Oh yeah,
I
I
missed that.
remember
Oh,
seeing
I'm definitely gonna
those.
try to do something like that again in the future.
Yeah. I forget. Um, you don't have a mini model for your new model yet, do you?
Mm. No, not yet.
I I, I hope you do because I very much enjoyed the mini model that I remember that was a very, very cute redeem. That
Yeah, I loved it. I
I
hope to
forget the
speak
name of the
to
artist.
Kroneko again about it.
Yeah, Kronko. Yeah, because
Mm.
I
They're
really like
super
their
sweet,
work.
but uber busy.
Mhm. Yeah, well, they're in high demand. They make amazing things. That I've seen a couple
Mm,
others with their models, and they're just so cute.
mm. Yeah, for sure. They do amazing work, for sure.
Mm, yeah. Do you have any favorite songs, whether it be in Love Live or Muse Dash?
I don't think I have a favorite Muse Dash song because there's just so many that I like very much. But I think for
Mm.
Muse Dash, I think Soldier Game was my favorite.
Ooh, okay. I think for me,
I was gonna ask, did you have a
it,
favorite song?
it's a low hanging fruit, but it still hits because I even heard it a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, this song's
No
still really
Halation?
good. Yes.
I knew you were gonna say it the second you
Yep,
opened
yep.
with that.
She knew.
It's
She
low hanging
knew.
fruit. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I see what's going on.
I.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
It is. It
It's
is.
classic.
Yeah. I. It, I am so unsurprised that you called me out on it. It still hurts.
It's a classic. It's good. I'm not
Yeah.
calling you out. I'm teasing a little bit though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, folks, if you are not actually familiar with Love Live, I definitely
Save yourself.
encourage.
Run.
And here I was going
The
to,
fan base is horrendous.
coax them into the abyss.
No, no.
All right, well,
Just
I
like
guess
the K-pop fan base, the
Lulu
Love Live
here,
Idol fan base is scary.
Lulu is here being the angel on your shoulder, saying, "Don't do it. Avoid the temptation. I'm the devil on your shoulder." Like, yes.
I vouch for it, but it's scary. It'd be scary out there.
Mm.
Hardcore, Hanukkah stands. You better watch out.
And Pokemon Trainer Storm in the chat has the right. Just ignore the fan base. Do not engage.
It makes sense though, because a lot of people have waifus. It makes sense. Favorite characters are always a heated debate.
So, getting back into music, you mentioned that prior to getting into VTubing that you were part of the Utaite community. And obviously,
Yes, I
not
used
getting
to be.
into any of the specifics of that past life, as it were. Do you recall how you got into that community? Because obviously, I would assume it's an extension of singing there, but it feels like a very particular type of community, a very particular type of music that you sort of find yourself in.
From the karaoke singing app, I was always into Japanese music. So I felt like a natural slide over from what they used to call Simultaite, because I was the karaoke app, over to YouTube, which is Utaite. I got into it because someone asked me to be part of a. Do you know what a CB is?
No.
A CB stands for chorus battle. It sounds so geeky.
Pardon me.
So back in the day, and this is still going on. People would host these events called chorus battles. I'm not sure them to CBs though.
So
'cause that's
are we
what everyone
talking
calls
similar to
them.
rap battles here? Of just it's two sides against each other singing.
Okay. No, not really. So you would get groups of singers together, and they would participate in the CB that's run by another artist or whatever it is. So there's teams. You have a team full of singers, and they would all create original art and music videos and mixes and choruses of these people, and they would all compete against each other. And there's 3 rounds where you submit your original music video, where you're you make an original song, an original video, or you make a cover with your chorus and an original video. You submit it, and then it gets judged by a panel of other artists, and then whoever makes it to the end gets a prize.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is it's not American Idol style because it's not popular vote, but it's effectively a singing competition.
Yeah, it's like a singing competition with a group of people.
Yeah, and I guess done in one session or one night, since this sounds like it's a sort of
You have
singular
about,
event.
You have a few weeks to a month, I think, for each
Okay.
round.
Oh, okay, so
Because you
this
have
is
to
an
get someone
extended
to
project
mix
then.
and master 7 people in your
Okay, that's
chorus,
true.
and someone
Yeah, that
to
makes
script
sense.
parts
Yeah.
for each person, and
Okay.
original art needs to be made,
All
the
right.
video too. So
Gotcha. Okay,
it
so
takes a while.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first if this was going to be all online or if this was going to be, an in-person thing.
Oh no,
But,
I don't think it's ever been an in-person thing, because the art and video aspect is a big deal too.
Okay. So oh wow, well that's still really cool, because then you're assembling a team of. It's not just all right, we want to get the best singers together, but that you are actually essentially forming production units at that point, and
Yeah, for sure.
that's actually really cool, because you can get this really neat experience of working together with a group in that way, and actually having to take the time to put together a truly finished and polished product like that. So that's neat.
It was super crazy, because you have to get so many people with different skill sets together to create this one thing, and also stay together for several months in order to see if you
that takes
made it.
commitment. That I would assume that
It was
wouldn't be
wild.
uncommon for folks to drop out of anything from one interest waning to in the course of months, real life can happen, and you might end up
Yeah, yeah,
having
yeah.
commitments, or some situation in your life can change. And it's just, I'm sorry, everyone, I can't commit the time to do this anymore. So I guess you have to sort of
Mm.
be flexible, and if one
Well, you can
member
get
of the group.
replaced if you have to like drop out. But you
Okay,
have to
so
like
so you're.
re-register your member.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this is the new member of the team because someone else dropped out. But
All right, but that it wasn't okay. You lost
Mm,
someone, and now you're going to be penalized going forward. That you're going to be one member down. That you are allowed to actually, even if you have to go through a bit of paperwork,
mm,
bring in somebody new for that. So that's nice. About how big
mm.
would these teams? I guess how big would the choruses be? That not counting the video or audio mixers and producers here.
Oh, actually, the fun thing about that is, I think it differs per chorus battle, but a lot of the time, all of the vocalists did it themselves.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a case of you had people whose sole job was to do these different production aspects, that it had to be members who were still performing.
I think there's some people who, well, I think it depends on what they allowed because it's different depending on who's running it. But a lot of the time, it was vocalists who would be doing the editing for the video or also the art.
Mm. I guess on average, since as you said that the numbers and rules would vary from competition to competition,
Hmm,
on average, what would you say the team sizes were?
maybe around like 5 people who were like
Okay.
singing, and then maybe like as like a whole, maybe like 8 people if like you need someone to do like mix or whatever or a video.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, that's about where I was gonna guess, because that's not too big a group
But
where it's
but
gonna
sometimes it
be.
gets really big. Like sometimes they have like 8 people vocalist teams.
Okay, yeah, eight on vocals, that can be
Mm.
a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So was there sort of a hub, I suppose, for these competitions where you could go to a board somewhere and see, all right, someone has posted saying that they're starting this CB in a month's time, and that you can
Hmm.
register here? Or was it a lot of word of mouth? Was this social media or more
It was just usually
forums?
on social media, whether it be like a YouTube announcement post from someone in the community, or people talking about it in Discord servers, or
Hmm.
whatever it is. But usually, the way people would hear about it is, they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to join my team? We're doing XCB, whatever it is." We'd go, "Oh, I would, but like I'm in 3 other ones."
All right, now you mentioned Discord servers as one of the
Hmm.
venues here, so this has to have been at least moderately recently. That I wasn't sure if this was, way, way back in the day, or if it was more
It was quite
recent.
a long
So,
time ago, but they didn't. A lot of people migrated over to Discord and stuff. They'd
okay.
be on like random like websites or posts, but usually just through word of mouth. People like, "Oh, this CV is going on. Do you want to like try it out? We can make a team together."
How long ago, if you remember, was the first CB that you participated in?
Maybe, maybe 5 years ago or more. Maybe 6 or 7 now.
Okay, yeah, so definitely farther back, not super recent, but also not, it hasn't been over a decade or
Yeah, no, no, no.
anything.
My dark past though.
Yes, yes. Um, so that's really neat of the the sort of full circle almost of
Mm,
you know when you mentioned that the karaoke app ended
mm,
up being one of the ways you found in that this does actually wind up sort of connecting back to you getting into singing as a whole, which I did not expect that
mm.
we had not actually
Yeah.
planned out that conversation in advance, folks. I promise you.
No.
But it's cool that things do end up threading together in that way.
Hmm. I feel like it really comes full circle because I spoke to you lightly earlier about this in the pre-interview. That a lot of after being in the VTuber scene for a while and kind of seeing things, I noticed people that I used to speak to or used to know who used to be Utaites all migrating over. There's like over like 15 people that I used to know from like 6 years ago or more who are now all VTubers.
You are not
And
the
quite big
first.
ones, but I can't spill
Oh yes,
who
of
the original
course,
alias is, but
of
like
course. Yeah, but
some pretty big ones
yeah, that
used to be Taites.
yeah, Snee, the one who I mentioned earlier, who does a lot of Muse
Mm,
Dash, has also been
mm.
open that she was involved in the Utaite community, and she also mentioned
It
she was
makes
like
sense.
that she found people that she recognized vocally from the Utaite community, and
Oh
obviously,
my god.
something separate. But you are not the first person that I have had mention that there is that sort of recognition and that sort of just as is in the
Yeah, yeah,
VTuber
yeah.
community of the silent understanding of you don't cross these streams, that you keep the lives separate, and there is that
Mm.
unspoken respect, but that sort of recognition of, oh, it's good to see you're still around, it's good to hear your voice.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes sense because I feel like the Utaite community was the OG VTubing community before people
Kind of,
knew about it.
it certainly
Because no one showed
sounds
their
like
face.
it. Yeah.
Nobody showed their face. It was all your anime, like, original character
Yeah, that you
that
had
you
these.
get art of to
Mhm,
use
mhm.
for singing covers.
Yeah,
That's like the same thing now, but we move properly.
yeah, that like I said, I was certainly not involved in the Taite community, but the more I have learned about it, I'm
Mm,
definitely seeing how it really is sort of the one of the major predecessors of the VTuber community. That
mm,
it's this fandom that is working under an alias, that you are doing music and content creation under an alias as opposed to your real name.
mm,
There's going to be the Japanese influence, which
mm,
is
mhm,
while obviously VTubing is not exclusive to Japanese culture, that the origins are certainly based in Japanese culture, and that there is a significant amount of overlap in a lot of the early adopters or the earlier discoverers of VTubing. So it seems very logical of how this all flowed, of how the Taite community found itself really at the forefront of VTubing, and just in terms of interest, technology, internet circles, really. And then just
mm.
because of the anonymous nature of both communities finding each other, or perhaps if not finding each other, recognizing each other along the way. And I think that's really got to be cool for you and others in the community of, like I said, just sort of
Mm.
the recognition of your ears perking up and being like, oh, I know that voice. I'm happy
A
that
lot of
they're
people
still
just like
around, that they're
made
still
their
making
original
music.
channel into their VTuber channel, so
Mm,
everyone kind of knows a little bit.
yeah. The first rule of Fight Club.
Yeah, not everyone's secret about it. But it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. One other area that you mentioned, completely sort of moving away from the singing in Utaite, is you mentioned
Mm.
that you're also kind of into baking.
Oh yeah, I baked cookies just like a few hours ago.
Hey, what type of cookies?
Oh, classic chocolate chip.
Hey, nothing wrong with classics.
Mm.
Is that something that you picked up recently, or that you just sort of always enjoyed doing for fun? That what's sort of your history there, or is there just
Oh,
grew up doing
I've
it?
always just liked doing it.
Ah,
It's
Is
like
it
a good
you?
community thing, cause like if you make too much, no one's gonna complain. Give it to your neighbors.
That's
Give it to your
very true.
friends.
Very true. Way to a person's heart is through their stomach.
Yeah, it's a good way to get to know people.
Mm, is it usually cookies, or have you ever tried your hand at anything a bit more complex?
Oh, I just like trying to make things. I remember a few years ago I did a very fancy crepe where it's called crepe Suzette, where you can use a little bit of alcohol in like a wine glass and light it on fire, and then dribble it over
Ooh.
the crepe.
Okay. Wow. So we're,
It's
so we're
called
kind
like a
of
cool
doing
like
like
fire show.
baked Alaska crepes here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I've had crepes before. Never ones that have been set on fire, at least not intentionally.
Yeah, it's just like light alcohol that you can put over top of it and light on fire.
Yeah.
Mm,
Sort of reminds me of, you go to a hibachi place and that they'll use just
mm.
a little bit of oil and have the big fireball.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's very fun.
Mhm.
But I usually just enjoy, the traditional baked goods, non on fire.
Yep. Yeah, definitely don't want too much fire. I know some people enjoy burnt cookies. I do not. I like them to be just honestly. I like my cookies just the tiniest bit underdone, nice and gooey.
Mm. Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of baking fails. I think my first time I made cookies, I tried to make crunchy cookies. Like the crunchy chocolate chip cookies, where they said to add more sugar or whatever it is, like brown sugar. So I listened to the recipe, but they ended up completely turning like charcoal black and burnt, like
Oh
comically
no!
uneatable bad. My friend took a bite because she was
Oh,
like, "Oh no no no, hold on, maybe they just look bad. Okay, here, I'll take a little bite." And she's like, "Oh my god, they taste like meat." And I was like, "What? They taste
uh,
like meat?"
that's almost impressive.
I know. Like I said, comically bad, like genuinely comically bad.
Oh no!
We've come a long way. We've come a long way.
Yes,
I
yes.
could say confidently, I'm pretty good at baking now.
That's good. That's good.
Mm.
Do you, when you bake, do you normally use a recipe, either one from a cookbook that you had, or is it just sort of a standard one that you were taught and have just remembered?
Um, I think it depends. If it's something really simple like pancakes or like muffins, those have kind of like a base, right? Where you can add
Yeah.
things into it. Those are
Hmm.
super easy. And I think most recipes are very similar. So I kind of just remember those. But if it's for something different, I'll probably just look up a recipe.
Mm. When it comes to cookies, because chocolate chip cookies in particular, I found, you know, there's the, the base ingredients for the most part are the same, but
Mm,
there's some proportions or steps involved that just there's so many variations on chocolate chip cookies and how they can
mm,
turn out.
mm.
That for you, when you make your chocolate chip cookies, is that a recipe that you got, learned from your parents, or was it one that you just looked up online and that you found worked pretty well and that you've stuck with that? Or do you even experiment with your chocolate chip cookies and try new things?
Um, this time I just wanted the house to smell nice. I looked up a recipe and it was
Mm,
just really quick.
hmm. Yeah, like I can certainly appreciate I want the house to smell like
Mm,
chocolate chip cookies because
yeah.
it it's there's something about the smell of fresh chocolate chip cookies of just that
Mm.
nicely baked chocolate that it's really nice. And people have tried to do artificial scents. You can get some fancy scented candles. It's not the same. It's not the
That's true.
same.
That's true.
Mm, darn it, now I'm getting hungry.
I get that. I get that. I ate before this though. I'm in the
Yeah,
safe zone.
yeah,
I had
no,
my own chocolate chip cookie. I'm good.
because I ate before this, and I even
Hmm.
actually,
I would share cookies if I could.
yeah, yeah. Please ship cookies to this address.
Dox yourself on your own
Yep,
stream.
on my
Damn.
own
Career
stream.
over.
Oh, there it goes. Also, chat, one, thanks again for being here. Hope you all are enjoying yourself. That
Yeah.
if you have any questions for Lulu or I, that,
Mm.
we're here to just, have a conversation. That she's always, like I said, really, really good about interacting with chat. And I know she and I have sort of just been jamming for
Mm.
the past almost hour and a half now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but if you all want to hop in on the conversation, by all means do so.
yeah.
Really
Mm.
appreciate you coming out here tonight. That I know, Lou, you were kind enough to send out a tweet and a ping on your Discord server, which,
Yeah, of course.
and,
Because it's an honor to be invited. I'm so glad that you thought of me.
no, like I said, the pleasure's mine. That if for some reason any of you out there are not already following Lulu, that her links, and I don't recall if I got the Discord link in the Twitch panels for tonight. I know I have your Twitch and Twitter links at the very least in my
Mm.
Twitch panels right now, but the Discord link will be in the YouTube video. That if you're watching on YouTube, hi YouTube, don't forget to like, comment,
I
subscribe.
can subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to VTuber Talk.
Hey, it's So87.
Oh, here he is.
Here he
Mamoto
is.
himself. The
Yes.
stinky boy who makes fun of me.
All right, so 87. First off, welcome in.
Yeah.
We played for the starting soon screen, Hypersonic, and we were talking earlier saying that when I initially saw your name, and I was telling Lulu before the stream, I was like, oh,
Yes. You can explain this.
I've
Okay,
put
I'll
Hypersonic
sit
in.
tight.
Yeah, I put Hypersonic in as our starting soon music, and I said SO87, and she said, "Oh, thank goodness, I'm not the only one who thought it was SO87," and I now know that it is SO87. So,
Don't, I'm telling you.
for what it's worth, I can defend Lulu in that apparently she is not the only
SO87.
one that made the mistake with your name.
Shaking my head.
Yes, very good job on Hypersonic, both of you. That was a very fun song that worked it honestly super well as the starting soon one, and that will not end up going on the YouTube release. That the way I cut the YouTube videos is right for the top of the show. That way, there's not that big buffer time. But I'm still going to make sure that SO87, not SO87, gets a little credit in there as well, and that I'll include a link to Hypersonic, because it'd be super weird if someone watches on YouTube that we're talking about this song and SO87. See, I even made the mistake then, and
No,
not
you can
include
just
the
call
link.
it SO87. just tease him a little bit.
Yeah.
You can take it. It's all good.
Yeah. But yes, welcome on in.
Luna made the whole song. I just sat there and played with plastic wrap.
Wait a minute, plastic wrap. Is there a story here, or like is there a sound
That's
effect
my
in there that I
boy.
missed?
Makes sense. Makes sense. You know me, the OG producer. No, I'm kidding. No. It was the opposite way. I just sat there and drooled while he was like, okay. It goes beep boop beep boop, and I go, yeah. Sounds good. Keep that up.
Oh
That's
my
the
goodness.
origin story.
Yes, the creative process at work.
Honestly, that's what it's like for any of the artists I worked with. They're like, hey, can you do vocals for me? And I go, oh, if you're really sure that you can't find a better vocalist, yeah.
Oh, don't
And
sell
then I go,
yourself
sweet,
short.
here's the instrumental, here are the lyrics. Here's your melody guide, and you're off and away. And I go, thanks.
Well, that's the thing, though. There's so many people that they could potentially go to who would take the vocals, the instrumental, and the melody line, and they would look at it and say, I do not know how to do this, or I do not know how to work with this. And the fact that you know how to take these things that they are giving you and actually, then use them and sing and actually create that is the skill. And you need to understand, there's a lot of folks who can't do that.
I think you're just being polite. I think as long as you have like a reference, I think anyone who sings could totally do it, easy peasy. And I just hope, just because I'm friends with a lot of these artists, that I'm not taking away opportunities that would be better off in somebody else's hands.
I would generally trust them that if they're coming back to you, that means that they like your work. That it would be something if it was just the first shot of all right, we're friends, so I want to see if we can work together. But the fact that they're doing it repeatedly means that they have
It's
to
just people being
genuinely
nice.
like it. Do you think that they would then put their own name on something if they didn't think it was good?
Oh, yes. yes. I do. Sometimes you just gotta release something. I think it's like the rule of kind of like, even if it's not your best work, sometimes just posting something is better than not posting something, and the next thing will be better. It's just me, in my opinion. People say that I'm overly humble. I swear I'm not doing it on purpose.
You tell
It's
her,
genuinely what I
87.
think.
You tell her.
we choose certain vocals for a reason. See, it's because you're being too nice. But
All right,
it's an
chat,
honor to work on
chat,
any music I get the chance
Chat,
to.
back me up here. Come on, it's get Lulu flustered hours. Let's go.
I'm unbreakable.
Goodness. but seriously, that you've really done a good job, and you as well, 87. That really fun song. Definitely looking forward to. Yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna take the coward's way out and make it so I can't mess up the so if I don't even bother with it and just go with 87.
It sounds like you guys are close pals now. Sup,
Yeah. Oh
87?
yeah. 87 and I. Yeah, we go way back. We go way back from 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we go back all the way to 87.
Yep,
87 to me. Mm.
Yes, Mr. 87. There we go. Honestly, though, Mr. 87 is still. I'm less likely to mess that up than SO and so.
Mm. Makes you sound like an old man. Oh, Mr. 87.
Mr. 87.
The type to have like a cigar and like
Yes.
wear a suit.
Lord 87.
Exactly.
Let's see, where were we before all that? Oh yes, baking.
Mm.
Is there anything that you haven't made before that you want to get around to making?
Not in particular. that probably doesn't help.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Just that it is a hobby, not necessarily something that you're looking to get super into, but that you find some simple comfort in, and that's really nice.
Mm. Is it my time to interview you? I have a few
If
questions for you
want
that
to,
we.
sure. But, hey, by all means.
All right, here we go. I know we talked a little bit earlier about how you decided to start doing these interviews. I'm really curious. What was there a specific guest in particular that you're like, oh, I really like dream guest that I've always wanted to interview?
Dream guests. They're
Yeah.
Yes and no. That half cowards that there's
I know
no
I
guest
put you in the hot seat for
that
sure.
there's no guest I have ever had that I didn't genuinely want to have on the show. So first off, baseline. Like one thing I'm very adamant about is that I do not invite people on my show because they have numbers. I invite people on my show because I find them interesting and compelling as content creators, and I think it would be fun to talk with them for a couple of hours. That in some senses, Vtuber Talk is an entirely selfish project in that regard. Of I'm here because I think this is fun. I don't.
That's the
This
best
channel
way
is
to do
not.
it, though.
This channel is not monetized. This is a thing I do once a week because I had a bit too much time on my hands during the pandemic, and I have decided to just keep the ball rolling. In terms of like pie in the sky dream, was that like, would it be cool to one day have someone from Hololive on the show? Yeah. I'd be lying if I've said that I've never dreamed or considered the possibility of that one day. Do I think it's gonna happen? No.
Oh, it totally could.
Well, I would say that there is a non-zero chance. I can see that. I can imagine a realistic scenario where it would happen. Is it a likely scenario? No, but realistic. That I am open enough to never saying never. I'm certainly not expecting it, though.
Oh yeah.
But in a lot of ways, like I said, that just every guest I have is someone that I just want to speak with, and a few are bigger than others numerically. I'm unsure if, frankly, they have the time for me because they do so much other stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there is like a particular one that is top of mind that I'm gunning for. Of the ultimate goal is to interview this particular person. This is really a rolling process for me. That I'm on Twitch, frankly, probably more hours of the day than I should be watching VTubers, and it's splitting my time between folks I've had on the show because once I've had them on the show, I still want to keep up with them. That I don't want to just say thanks for being my show. Why? Because that feels kind of scummy. And since I want someone to be on my show because I like their content, that means that I still like their content. I genuinely going to want to just continue to tune in. it's getting difficult as, this is episode 68 of VTuber Talk now, and it is getting
Yeah.
difficult to, I can't check in with 68 different
Mhm.
streams every week. I can't do
Mhm.
it. It was very easy when I had like 10 past guests. I could do that.
Yeah, it
Um,
makes sense. It makes sense.
but otherwise, I'm then splitting my time between folks that I've already interviewed before and I'm keeping up with, and then sort of just actively scouting of, you know,
Mhm.
clicking around and saying, okay, the algorithm says if I watch these folks that I should check out these folks. Or honestly, one of the biggest benefits for me is I always follow raids of my past
Mhm.
guests. That if I'm catching
Mhm.
up with them and they're near the end of the stream, they're like, all right, we're going to raid so-and-so. I stay for that
Yeah.
raid because that's a de
Mhm.
facto
A
recommendation to
great
me.
way.
And I have gotten an increasingly significant number of guests from raids from past guests because,
Mhm.
one, like I said, it's a certain amount of a recommendation of when you raid into someone, it's saying, usually I'm familiar with their content and I like that, sometimes
Mhm.
people will do blind raids, but more often than
Mhm.
not, at the very least,
Mhm.
it's an educated raid.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. I have a second question as well.
Mm.
If you weren't doing this really incredible VTuber Talk project, what would you be putting your effort and time like towards? Because I remember previously you mentioned you used to help run events and whatnot, and you said that you were like semi-confident in doing a proper job at talking and being a speaker. So what would you be putting your like effort and time towards with your
Oh,
skill set?
I still am. The reason that
Oh, you
VTuber
still
Talk
are.
The reason that
Hey, oh
VTuber
my
Talk
god.
is a once a week show is
Mm.
because I have, if we're not including my day job,
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4 other active projects that I do just on the
Mm.
side for fun. That there's,
Mm.
I do a podcast, I do a
Mm.
weekly stream with a friend, I
Mm.
have a large monthly project that I do with friends.
Mm.
Um, and in terms of talking and
Mm.
doing events, uh,
Mm.
I wasn't able to for the past year and a half, but events are happening now. Um, I'll say it. I'm going to be at AX later this week. I'm not going to say where.
Wow!
I'm not
Nice,
going to say
nice.
where. I'm not going
Mm.
to say for who. But I have a client that I'm starting to
Mm.
work events again. That
Oh, it's
um,
nice.
that I am going to be somewhere there working.
Mm.
And as for speaking, I
Mm.
actually I got an email from
Mm.
someone that I'm going to be working with on another event that I'm going to be a host for later in the
Mm.
year. That I'm
I
going to
think
be
it'd be
doing some
perfect.
speaking for. That I'm going to be
Yeah.
an MC. And they were
Mm.
asking me to get my bio to them. So I'm going to have to actually write that
Mm.
up because I'm not good at writing bios about myself. That's one thing I'm not very good at.
Neither am I. That's why introducing yourself is always so
Yeah, no,
difficult. But I think
it
the people
is.
that
It
handle it
is.
really know what they're doing.
But yeah, the reason that I set up VTuber Talk as I did to be just,
Mm.
a talk show and not, all right, I'm going to be a active streamer is because
Mm.
it feels much more natural to say, all right, a show that airs once a week sounds about right. But I knew I
Yeah.
wasn't going to have the time to commit to doing a full streaming schedule because I am still doing all these other things. And
Mm.
it takes a lot of time. And I know I made the right choice. That if I had tried to make VTuber Talk like a 3-show a week thing, there's no chance in hell it would have been sustainable. Couldn't have been possible.
Mm.
Probably not even at 2 times a week. But the fact that I've kept it just spaced out enough, and that every so often I will miss a week because of
Mm.
scheduling conflicts and
Because you're
whatever.
incredibly busy. Yeah, yeah. I had no idea how incredibly busy you were. I mean, I assumed so. But when you started counting, I was like, hey, that's so many projects.
I'm the type of person that I have a lot of spinning plates, and
Mm.
I'm very good at managing those spinning plates. And And
Sounds like a circus act for
it,
real.
it, but it's something that I'm sure that you have a good number of your own projects, and it's the type of thing that when a project is new, you want to get comfortable with it. But once you get comfortable with your spinning plates, then you start to realize, oh, I think I can add one more spinning plate because, well, I'm able to do 3 comfortably. Let's try 4, and then it takes a while to adjust to 4. But eventually you get to 4, and you're good at 4 spinning plates. Well, I guess I can add a 5th, and it's just it sort
Seems
of
like you're
keeps
not very
going.
complacent.
No, it just I'm good about. I'm not going to take on 3 new plates at the same time because then I'm likely to drop them all.
That's me.
But
I'm being called out.
but that's just sort of how I operate. Of I will take 1 new plate at a time, and then just carefully, slowly, but deliberately stack them up. And VTuber Talk was a different spinning plate for sure, but I've gotten pretty comfortable with it. And the plate that I'm sort of bringing back on is events. That that plate had to be put down, as it were, for 2020 and 2021 for obvious reasons. But now I'm able to pick that plate up again without putting this plate down because I have gotten comfortable with this plate. That's a lot of plates. Saying the word plate, 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 plate.
You're a dish maker now.
Oh no.
Honestly, I can see this going some really fun places. Like, since you're so good at speaking and being very professional, I can say for sure for anyone who gets asked in the future, I would definitely be able to recommend you. You're a great
now you're
interviewer.
flattering me.
I'm sure you could do some really fun live things because you have an amazing skill set and you're good at what you do. So I'm sure if you like amass a good crowd and then you like submit it to like an anime convention, as long as you have someone to back you up technically with like the technology you need to like run a live show, like a live interview, I feel like you could totally do that at an anime convention.
It's something that has occurred to me, certainly, of the idea of a live show of VTuber Talk, but honestly, the biggest problem of it all is because I'm usually working conventions in some other capacity. That I'm not. That if I'm working the convention, I don't have the time to run a panel.
Yeah, but one day if you submit something, they could have you on as a guest instead.
No, there could be opportunities in the future. One thing that I'm sort of being mindful of is, like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing some hosting for an event later this year, of keeping an eye out for hosting opportunities related to VTubers that it wouldn't be under the brand of VTuber Talk, but that I know I can do this type of hosting or panel moderation, as it were. VTuber Talk interviews himself when like I can chat.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. That'd be super interesting. Where you like pre-record answers to questions
and you just talk to myself.
And then you talk to yourself.
Gosh.
That would be absolutely incredible. Do that for April 1st.
That feels a little
godlike
self-serving.
Content.
But at the same time, the idea of an April Fool's version.
That's fun. April Fool's content.
That's an interesting idea. Because I was going to say I could maybe do it like as a charity drive reward. Because I'm very much looking forward to my next charity drive. That I did that for my first anniversary in January. And I fully intend to do that again next January. It's obviously a long way off. But when Pokemon Trainer Storm, you were just saying, okay, interview myself, like, okay, I would not do that under normal circumstances. So what is the circumstance? The idea of, okay, maybe that becomes a charity stream reward of, we raise, I don't know, $3,000 or whatnot, and that I will record a interview with myself or just do a stream where I'm kind of talking to myself in that way. It would be weird, but for charity, I would do it. But I also like your idea of April 1st of just, record. Yeah, that for that, it wouldn't even need to be a full stream necessarily. That I could, or just, a 3-4 minute video recording, put it up on Twitter and YouTube and something like that. Yeah, I might need to keep that in my back pocket. There could be something there. Could be charity stream on April 1st. No, that I guess It-
Charity streams are great. I saw on your Twitter that you support charity streams quite a lot. I have a similar love for charity streams because I'm part of like a charity stream group.
oh, I
We
didn't
do
know
a big
that.
charity stream every year. Mm,
That's super cool. Yeah,
yeah, it's
this.
the Luminous charity stream.
Ooh.
We
So
the first time we did it in 2020, we raised $25,000. It was crazy.
yes, I remember seeing that on your card website
Yeah,
that you mentioned that, and I saw it, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money.
yeah. I was super excited to be part of it because I'm friends with the people who run it. Mike and Xiao, they're incredible.
Mm.
Xiao's such a great artist. She makes sprites for all the people who are participating.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So how did you get involved with them?
It's just because Mike is so ambitious. He was like, "Oh, let's do this charity thing," and all of our like friends are part of like mini groups and whatnot. So he just kind of brought us all together.
Mm. And for me, one, the idea of doing a charity stream was something that appealed to me. Of that, like I said, I have not monetized this channel, partially because I'm only doing this, once a week. It's not something that I would expect people to necessarily support anyways, but also just because I am very, very, very fortunate to have a good job, and that I do not need to seek other sources of income. So I would rather, if someone has the couple bucks that they would want to throw at me, I'd rather have them throw it at my guest or at charity. And one thing that I sort of decided with my charity stream is that it's going to be a once a year thing, that I want it to be an event, something that people come to look forward to, and that it is something special. That I worry doing too many of them would lessen things, and they start to then blend together of, oh, it's
Yeah,
another
be less
charity stream.
impactful.
Yeah, less impactful.
For
Whereas
sure.
having it be, the once a year, that's the one time that I call in favors, the one time I say, if you could please retweet, the one time that I reach out to my guests and be like, hey, if you have the time, if you could retweet and help plug this, that it would mean a lot
I totally
to me.
understand.
Yeah, to just do it, the once, because it keeps it special, keeps it from being annoying, and maximizes that impact.
Do you have anything specific that you do during your charity streams? Or is it like a regular one where you just have like donation goals and then rewards for your donation goals? Do you have any like special events during your charity events? Or have you not done one yet?
Well, so I did the first for the first anniversary in January. It was 2 12-hour streams on Saturday and Sunday. So I was talked down from doing a 24-hour stream that it was another one of my past guests actually that I'd been talking about it, saying
those are terrible. I'm gonna be honest with you.
well, that was what
They
said.
seem to be for real.
Because I'd been talking with one of my past guests saying I'm starting to build out the plans for a charity stream for my first anniversary. I know I want to do this, and I'm thinking I'm going to have it be 24 hours. And he said, oh no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
So that he was like, I've never seen a 24-hour charity stream end well, that you can go good for maybe 16, 18, maybe even 20 hours, but that the last few are just going to be
the last
a
4
slog.
is the kicker.
Yeah. And so I'd initially been thinking, all right, the 24 hours for the day of the anniversary. But then I was like, I don't need to do it all on the day of my anniversary. I can just do it the weekend. So I did 12 noon to midnight on Saturday, and then 12 noon to midnight on Sunday. And it meant I had 12 hours in between to recover, and I was fine. That wasn't bad at all. I work conventions. I've done 12-hour days standing and walking around. So 12-hour days sitting at my computer and talking with folks, that was easy. And a lot of it was that I called in I reached out at least to all my past guests. Not all of them were available, but it was 29 people on the stream other than myself over the course of that 24 hours. That it was just, hour blocks. I sent out a Google form saying, hey, when are you available? Are you okay being on stream with others that aren't me? And just, I created a schedule, got it to folks, and it was really great. I did have
it's amazing to see the community come together for something like a good cause that everyone believed in.
And I did have the rewards, the sort of threshold milestone goals for different
Mhm,
things. The last one we
mhm.
reached was at the end of the 24 hours, we raised just over $4,000. Uh, and the last goal was for an ASMR stream. So in February, I did
Wow!
an ASMR stream.
That's incredible!
Um,
Wow.
but along the way, I also had, if you donate $10, that I will do an ara ara. If you donate like $20, I'll say hi, honey. I did for $50. I would read
Mm.
the Final Fantasy 14 meme of
You you know what you should have had a me? Gongaga. Really?
Gongaga.
Have you seen the Gongaga meme?
I have
Oh,
not, or if I have, it's been a while.
come on, come on. You've gotta see the Gongaga meme.
I
It's it's
probably
classy.
seen it.
Does this image raise me?
1 second.
That has to raise some.
1 second. I'm watching this now.
It's all good. It's all good.
Nope. It looks like Final Fantasy though.
Yeah, Final Fantasy. It's a good clip. It's classy.
Is that from? Is that from Advent Children?
I don't know.
Or is that from one of the
I
games?
don't know. I just got sent it by my friend sometime
gonna
this
have to
year,
look
and I was
that
like, oh
up.
my god, this is incredible.
Yeah. And then the thing I did for $100, and you mentioned that you saw on my Twitter profile
Mm-hmm.
that I have a sort of an open offer. It's something that I extend first off to all my guests, so you now also qualify for it. But I put it on my Twitter profile to reach out to me that for $100, I said anyone who donated 100, I would do a custom, safe for work, 30-second audio recording. It just recorded the week after the stream, sent it out to them. So a couple people had me read some memes. I did a song clip for a couple people, and
Wait,
my
you
stand.
sing?
I can sing, yeah.
Whoa! Do you ever post your singing anywhere?
I don't think I've posted the singing anywhere. The few folks who have those clips of my singing, I don't know if they posted, but one person asked me to sing 30 seconds of the Captain Planet theme song. The other was for What's New Scooby Doo.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah.
It's banger.
But yeah. So I was a theater kid. I did sing a little bit.
I didn't expect this. Whoa.
That's probably where the stage confidence comes from.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I can see it now. Now that you've said it, I get it.
Yeah. But the offer I have to all my past guests is that if you ever do a charity stream, let me know, and I will donate 2 30-second recordings that you can give away however you want in your stream, whether it be that you auction them off or that you do, a raffle giveaway, or if it's rewards for the highest donors, however you want to do it. Just let me know in advance so that I can be expecting to be reached out to by you or the winners, and that for anyone who is not a past guest, that I have a standing offer that I will donate 1 30-second recording to any charity stream that they might do. And admittedly, nobody has taken me... That past guests have taken me up on that before. I've never gotten someone who hasn't been a guest before contact me and take me up on it. So if anyone's watching this on Twitch or on YouTube, you can reach out to me just, at Vtuber Talk on Twitter.
Yeah.
That I will
I
donate,
vouch.
1
You guys can hear
30-second
it.
recording.
You guys can hear his voice, right? Incredible, incredible. I feel like you do an amazing announcer voice. Like I can feel it in my gut. You would do a really good one.
Yeah, no, I think I can do a good announcer voice, and somebody had me record, a wake up tone of, it's sort of almost drill sergeant-esque of get up, have energy, you go and face the day type of thing.
Yeah. I feel like you'd be really good at voice acting. It makes sense.
So what about you? That for your charity streams, that you were involved in these huge ones that were obviously with a bunch of other people as well. That were
Mhm.
there any special things that you had in terms of either giveaways or goals or just really good memories?
I think we all had a really good time. I think I look back on it quite fondly because a lot of these VTubers, since it's been a few years, a lot of them have graduated over time. So like, when I get to see like the group art of all of us together, all the sprites that
Oh,
Xiao drew, it reminds me of all the games that we played together because we had it all scheduled out. We had like this really nice Google schedule that we all got to look at, and we had like time slots for everybody, and we had
mm,
different games every few hours. It was incredible with different teams and whatnot, and like team competitions and stuff. It was great. So I definitely look back on it quite fondly.
ah, because if memory serves, you've done two of those big streams. That
Mhm.
was that a year apart for a particular event, or was it just organized twice over a couple months? What was the story there?
We just do one every year.
Okay, so
The
it's an
Luluna stream is
annual
a
event.
yearly stream. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there an occasion behind the date that you do it for a holiday, or was it just the first time was random and then the second time it was okay, we'll do it a year apart from the first?
Hmm. I think after the first one went so well, and we were all such good friends with each other, and we loved like the community vibe, and everyone just had a blast. That we thought, oh, we should just do it every year. I think Mike just brought up, he's like, this is going great, and we love doing charity
Yep.
stuff.
Want
Why
to
don't
do
we
it
just do it
again?
every year?
Let,
Yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
run
We
this
want to make this.
back.
We want to make this a yearly thing.
hmm Yeah, that there have been a lot of projects that I've been involved with that started off as one-offs of just, I have the idea of I want to get a bunch of friends together and do this thing. And I think it'd be fun. And we do have fun. And we have so much fun that we say we want to
Hmm.
do it again. And then we do
Hmm.
it a second time. And we say we want to do it again. And then we realize, oh, this is a thing now.
The thing now, yeah.
That has been more than one of the 4 or 5 projects that I was like listing off earlier in terms of the plates that I have added.
Hmm.
That not all of those were initially meant to be plates, but like I said,
Hmm.
you just sort of realize, as I said, and as Javelance in the chat has repeated, this is a thing now.
Yeah, it is a thing. Well, I'm excited to see all the different plates you got spinning in the future.
Yeah. Well, you won't see
Mm.
all the plates here on VTuber Talk. That's the one thing is
I'll keep my eyes out. I'll keep my eyes out. If I get oddly suspicious, I'll be like,
yeah.
hey.
Find me if you can. Hey, one thing I will say is
Mm,
most of the other plates I have spinning in terms of content projects
mm,
are very small ones. That the channels that I do things on with my
mm,
friends are very small. That smaller even than VTuber Talk, and VTuber Talk is not
mm.
big. But there's did you just say hi All Might? But like some of the things I do with some events are pretty big. But since the things I do
Mm.
for the events are, I'm not a headliner, that I'm someone who's working the events and no one pays attention to me. So even if I'm working big events,
I
you won't
totally get
see me,
that.
or if you see me at events, you won't know it.
Mm,
The odds of me being of someone speaking to me at an event and recognizing my name are puny.
I get that.
If you can find me at an event and recognize my voice because you're talking to me,
Mm,
I will be
mm.
legitimately impressed. Like I will let
Honestly, I
you
totally
know if you
agree.
find me. So here's the open challenge: find me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get that. I get that. I went to an anime convention with my identity concealed, and that's exactly how I felt. Because all my other friends are going as, because they're not VTubers, they're like music artists.
Mm,
And I was like, "Oh, can we get your autograph, so and so? Can we get your autograph?" And I was just standing like, he. I'm in a big robot head. No one knows anything.
yep.
And if someone found me, I would be like, "Oh my gosh, no way!"
Yeah, no, the whole the meme of they all don't know I'm they all don't know I'm a VTuber, they all don't know I'm VTuber
I'm such a
Talk.
small VTuber. I doubt anyone would find me. One person did though, so that was pretty crazy.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, well, Also, don't sell yourself short. You're not that small anymore. You've got a fair number of people watching you. So,
Really? I guess I just don't know because I'm very disconnected from the VTuber community. Like I'm a VTuber, but I don't talk to any VTubers like at all. I would have no idea.
I think you've been doing pretty well for yourself. But Pokemon trainer, so I'm saying, just gonna go up to every guy you see and say, "Are you
VTuber Talk?" I will do that.
Good
I will
luck
do
with
that from now on. Like, you sound like an announcer. Do you happen to run events? Perhaps a Twitch channel? Do you talk to a lot of VTubers? And do you talk to a lot of VTubers? Are you VTuber Talk?
Do you talk to VTubers though?
Yeah, do you talk to VTubers? If you get what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Putting down these plates. Are you gonna pick them up? Are you gonna start spinning them? We'll have to see.
Oh no. I can imagine this now.
You're the plate guy now.
I'm the plate guy now. What have I done?
It's official. Your VTuber model is just gonna be like an announcer in a suit with a plate head.
No, at least let me be, sort of in the suit, spinning plates on sticks, not with a plate head. That would just be weird.
Oh. What? It's a unique design.
You're not wrong. Hey, for what it's worth, I have not seen a VTuber with a plate for a head before.
Well, it could be like your fun like Pokemon fact, where you're like, oh, if my plate stops spinning for my head, I'll die. I stop talking to VTubers. My plate cracks and I shrivel up.
Well, there it goes. Writing the VTuber
your life
talk
sustenance.
Pokemon lore right now.
Exactly.
Oh dear. Dang it. You might be the first person, Lulu, who has openly hijacked my show to interview me. I've had a guest ask me like a question or two before, but
it's my interview now.
Yeah, look at me. I am the interviewer now.
Sit down. I got more questions for you.
And I appreciate that as soon as you went into this mode, that you switched your model to have the microphone. That you've literally stolen the microphone from me.
The next thing I'm gonna have to do is get my rigger to get my arm to extend forward towards the screen. Oh, yeah,
no, how
into my mic.
But what about you? That in terms of I suppose your own other plates, if this is what I'm going to be known for now, that I might as well pass the plates on to you. That are there other projects that you have in the works right now that you were able to discuss, or ones that you are looking to start in the future?
Plates. Let me think. I think the only I plan on doing more live performances. I did a live performance at MomoCon this year, which was really fun. Singing performance. I hope to do more. Hopefully better.
I've never been to MomoCon before, but I hear wonderful things about MomoCon.
It was great. Besides, it being in Atlanta, Georgia, it was just scary. Yeah, I had a blast. It was great.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I know they've done a very good job of building up that convention. That it is even though Momo is Peach in Japanese, that it is a very all-purpose con. That it is perhaps known more for anime, but that it has a good spread of anime, gaming, and general purpose nerdery there. That they really do hit all the different beats.
Yeah. I totally thought that too. That it's definitely like an anime-based convention, but if you dress up as Deadpool or you dress up as like a different superhero, you're not gonna be shunned by the anime fan base. Just everyone having fun together. Yeah. Totally get it.
Was that your first time performing at a con, whether it be as Lulu or anything with, whether it be Taite or other groups?
I've done live performances before, but just not at conventions. So it was very interesting. It was a different experience because I was going as Luluna Rina, but anonymous, so no one could see my face. I was wearing a huge round robot head the entire time, which thank God the backstage has a ramp instead of stairs. I would have keeled over and died. Because I could only see these two little holes I'd made in this mask I made for myself.
Yep. There was an event one time that I was helping run
Hmm.
a cosplay contest for, actually. And
Oh.
one of the contestants asked one of the other folks that was there, they were like, "Hi, I need your help with something." "Oh, sure. What do you need? Anything?" He's like, "Help me get off
Hmm.
stage. I can't see a thing in this mask."
Exactly, exactly. That was me for real. He just like me for real. I just couldn't see anything. And the scary part is that the MomoCon convention is like 3 or 4 like escalators tall. So getting on and off of escalators in a huge mask was
Ooh,
like
that's tricky.
terrifying.
That's tricky.
Mm. I think that's my only complaint, but thank goodness there was a ramp.
Mm, yeah, that's right. So now that you're mentioning it, I feel like I do remember seeing you post a picture, and that you aren't, when you're saying, robot head, you're not exaggerating, that it was actually,
There's a
it was
huge
sort of
robot head.
that, you went full incognito, that it wasn't just, all right, I'm there and nobody knows who I am. It was, all right,
Mhm.
people will know who I am, but they will not see who I am. That you
Yeah,
just actually,
I pulled
eh,
I pulled a Daft Punk.
yes, that you pulled a Daft Punk. I forget what the name of that. There's some video game director developer who's known for
Hmm.
wearing this sort of this moon
Ushikoshi, I think.
mask, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I don't know. I know that they made Nier Automata.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Hmm.
of. Yes. Yeah, that you went
Hmm.
there, and that you actually, because obviously a lot of VTubers have been going to conventions lately, but only in
Hmm.
a virtual capacity, that they aren't
Yeah,
actually
only
going in
virtually.
person at
Yeah.
all,
Hmm.
and not having the mask or anything, that they are just being
Hmm.
streamed in for their panels or for
I
their
was initially gonna do the
performances.
live performance that way, but we didn't end up having the tech for it, or the time to set up for it.
Okay,
I would
well,
have been on
that's one way
stage
to do
in
it.
my
That
form like this, but it didn't end up working out. So
if you
I
don't
wanted
mind my
my
asking,
fresh body.
whose idea was the mask? Was it you or the convention that was like, all right, if we don't have the tech, what if we tried this? Who suggested it?
Oh, it's Yoko Taro. That's the
Yoko
near
Taro,
person who has
thank
it. Okay,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you. The real CJ. It's the real
Yeah,
CJ.
thank you. What was your question again?
Whose idea was it for you to go in a mask, that when you all determined that the tech was not going to
Oh,
work, was it you
can
that
I
said,
tell you something interesting about that?
yeah,
When I brought up the mask thing, because originally I was planning on doing a song with Rustage. I didn't do a song with Rustage this time. I did one with Connor Quest for his VTuber rap.
oh,
um, so I was on for like one song. I was planning on being on for multiple, but it ended up working out. But initially, the mask would have been a problem. It was my thing. They wanted me to come on stage with my full face. And I was like, um, I, I, this is a cool, amazing opportunity to perform in front of like 800 people, but like, I don't know if I want to like make my face
yeah,
in the public in front of that
mm-hmm,
many people. So one
mm-hmm,
thing if it's like a tiny venue, maybe, but that's a
yeah,
lot of people to be showing my face to.
mm-hmm.
So, and
So you were
I
the one
thought, oh
that
my
suggested the
gosh,
mask.
yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I just wore a big robot head? Would you guys be able to accommodate that? And initially, we are gonna have to be vetted by the convention people to see if we'd be fit enough to perform on stage because it was a big opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if they were gonna let me with my head. I was thinking them after talking to a few people, they said that I might not be able to perform with my head on. I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh, yeah,
it
'cause
was
it's
a
the
big
question of,
deal.
when you have the
Mm.
mask on like that, that you then have to have the microphone in the
Oh, the
mask.
microphone thing wasn't an issue, but because we had the day before the performance, we had a mock up like little test.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fine.
Okay, well,
I
that's
built the
good.
mask myself, so I had like a magnetic mouth part that I could take off and put back on. So I
Oh,
just took off the
okay.
mouth part and shoved the microphone in.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that's neat.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would ever do that again? That was it a experience that you enjoyed, or at the end of the day, were you like, this was worth trying, but I don't think I want to do that
Oh,
again?
I plan on doing more live stage performances again if I get the chance. Probably with the same people, the anime rap takeover crew that I was
Mm.
with last time. Um, what else? I think the experience was great, but the backstage experience was like panic inducing.
Oh no.
Just because all these people at the anime rap thing, they're very nice, they're very sweet, but I'm only friends with like 2 or 3 of these people out of like the entire group, and
Mm.
everyone's practicing their sets, and I'm the only one. They don't know what I look like, and don't know me that well, so I felt very alone. But I think the performance aspect is very cool. I hope to get better at it and give it a proper go next time. I feel like I kind of flubbed this one.
Yeah, well, also at the same time, why do people know each other? Because they've probably worked multiple events together, and that they've gotten the time to know
This,
each other,
this
and
was
that.
everyone's like first live event. I just wasn't friends or like knew these people prior, so it's
But
kind of like trying to get into an already like formed like social
yeah,
clique.
that. It,
It's a little rough,
but I don't think that. I think
especially if like my
you
head
would
is
have
like a
had that
barrier
struggle
to
regardless of if you had the mask or not. I think
Mm.
that's more a symptom of, you're very right, that when you are introduced to a situation where others already know each other, but you don't,
Mm.
that there is that sort of barrier to those social circles. I've definitely
Mm.
had that type of experience before. I think most people have. And I don't think that at the end of the day, I don't think the mask would have been a a really big differentiating factor in how that scenario would play out. I think that you
Mm.
might have been kind of doomed from the start there, unfortunately, but that hopefully, you
I
know,
tried my best. I talked to everyone, but it's a little difficult because hearing people and people hearing me through like a big anonymous Daft Punk head, it's like a little rough. It's like, "Hi, can you hear me?" They go, "Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me better if I talk through this hole?"
hear me? Can you hear
Yeah, exactly. Mm. It was
So that
very
hopefully
fun and
over
amazing
time they might get
opportunity.
to know you, and that, if you're returning on a future convention or show, or
Mm.
hey, I
I
saw you
plan
at
to, yeah.
MomoCon, that
Mm.
hopefully that then paves the way to, start making that experience a bit easier, because I can definitely see where that would
Mm.
be a bit
Mm.
isolating. But uh, you know, part of the concept of familiarity is the repetition. So hopefully, with more appearances, that the problem will really solve itself.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Uh, do you think? Well, one, would you ever do a panel at a convention, whether it be, with mask or virtual appearance? Do panels interest you at all? Or are you
Oh yeah, I've
really?
always wanted to do one of those, but I've never figured out how they do it. I've never had anyone who's been able to tell me so I can like say, "Hey, I want to do a panel," and like bring it up to a a convention. And nor have I been invited to like a VTuber panel in general, just because I'm I'm in my own little VTuber bubble. I'm not super like close friends with anyone who would do something like that. So I gotta figure that one out for myself. I hope to do one in the future though. Sounds like a super fun, amazing opportunity and time.
Yeah, and also I think what's probably going to happen, and frankly is already happening right now, is
Mm.
as conventions have their first VTuber guests, that
Mm.
they are finding solutions that work for them, and that
Mm.
for the most part, whatever system these conventions are using is one that's going to be transferable to
Mm.
other
Mhm.
VTubers, or really any other virtual guest. That one of the
Mm.
really cool things, I think, for events that honestly has come out of the past couple of years is the concept of a virtual guest. That not only now can you have VTubers and folks that literally cannot or do not want to appear in person, but the idea of having a mangaka or somebody, a artist from Japan, who can't
Mm.
take the 2 weeks to travel abroad, and that you have to pay for their visa and the airfare and the
Mm.
hotel,
Mhm.
but you can pay for a couple hours of their time and stream them in live, and that,
Mm.
that these folks can just do face cam, but that at the end of the day, the technology and the streaming of a panel, whether it be a VTuber or a IRL person, is going to be the same, in that now conventions are starting to be open-minded to, oh, we can have guests that aren't here in person, and that
Mm.
opens the door, especially for smaller conventions who just don't have the financial resources, like I said, to fly someone in from Japan to do all the paperwork that's
Mhm.
required, but that, they can pay an appearance fee, which is going to then be a fraction of all that other cost and time and effort to bring in an international guest.
Yeah, for sure. I have been in contact with a whole lot of Japanese companies, which I think is super interesting because I get to hear about things that are outlandishly crazy, um, that are not a thing here in outside of Japan. I was in contact with a company, I won't say the name, but they run VTuber live events at VTuber theaters, where they have a stage and tech setup where virtual talent can be projected onto the stage for like 3D live shows. And the VTuber doesn't need to be in the studio at all. They just need to be in a studio somewhere else. They've done
Mhm.
ones where there's a VTuber who does like a live show in the middle of Tokyo in their virtual theater, but they're actually in like some sort of tech headquarters in like China or something.
Yeah, that
For all the tracking and other devices and whatnot that has to go into it.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah,
So that's crazy. I'm
because
excited to see
I've
some of that tech come
seen,
to the States eventually.
yeah, well, I think the US has already had something that is marginally like that, in that I know
Mm, mm.
Miku Expo toured
Oh
the
yeah,
US, and I never attended Miku Expo, and
yeah.
obviously that's going to be slightly different because that's all computer
That's what
generated.
that's
That
that's
that
all
there's,
pre-done. Like it's like a
yeah,
video. It makes
yeah,
sense.
it's a video, so it's not
So it's
actually
rough. You need to
mocap.
get that because they have and that the reason why I do it in the theaters is so that they have some sort of fancy tech where they can see the audience like they're like a camera or something.
Hmm.
And also the audio gets streamed to the liver who's doing the show, right? So they
Yeah.
can interact with the audience live. I think it's crazy because if you're in like China, somewhere in China for the capturing of like the 3D model, but you can also still get that like slightly delayed like live time
Hmm.
interaction with your audience from
Yeah.
audio and video. It's crazy.
But at this point, we still have all the different pieces that we have. The 3D projection technology, because that's been proven
For
by
me
things like
too,
Miku
yeah.
Expo. We have the streaming technology, as has been proven by panels
VTuber
being
panels,
streamed,
yeah.
VTuber panels. So
Mm-hmm.
we have these individual parts. It's just a matter
Mm-hmm.
of getting them to be together at the same time. And admittedly, this is generally easier said than done, that it is not
Mm-hmm.
as simple as put two pieces together, but that the fact that the technology exists, and that, all right, we still need to figure out how to get them to work together, but that we know the pieces exist at all, means that we're at least halfway there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited to see more VTuber guests at anime conventions or any other like live events. I think it's gonna be super exciting. I'm looking forward to the future.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's really one of the things that I've been, just as someone who is involved with events, have really
Hmm.
was excited to see late last year, of realizing, okay, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're finally going to start having live events again, which
Hmm.
fortunately we are, and that hopefully, the worst is behind us, and that obviously,
Hmm.
precautions are still in place as they should be for various events, but that, we're now really seeing this payoff, or at least the start of it, of VTubing, because prior to 2020, VTubing was a thing, but it was not the same as it is now. That, the real VTuber boom happened over
Hmm.
late 2020 and early 2021,
Hmm.
when live events weren't happening. So live events have sort of been lying in wait and just sort of planning, most of them. Any event that is smart should have already been planning for VTubers, seeing them happen even when they couldn't run their events. But now that it is actually happening, we're having this experimentation phase where we're seeing what works, what doesn't, both for the conventions and for the talent. And I think the real test is going to be the next 2 years, because right now it's a lot of proof of concept that we're having some pretty simple things of, all right, do a panel, do a concert. But first, it's going to be, now that we're past the proof of concept, the refining and then the iterating and advancing of, okay, we know we can do panels, we know we can do concerts. What can we do that is more? How can we go further? And just how can we make these other things that we've already done smoother? How can we make it so it is easier and higher quality for the audience and the talent and the convention? And that, I'm a giant nerd when it comes to events and business stuff. The whole process and production of it all intrigues me.
I feel like that's the kind of stuff you'd be really good at. I feel like you'd be a good problem solver.
I try to be. That is part of what I do as my various jobs, both at my day job and at events, and part of why Vtuber Talk exists. Of just, I like to think I'm okay at communicating and organizing and just getting things to work and happen.
Yeah. It seems fitting for you.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy performing as well, but it's the type of thing that I realize I think I am a good performer, for sure. I think I am even perhaps an above average performer, but I see so many incredibly talented performers that I know, all right, have one, frankly, the time that I don't have to dedicate to performing. It's not even that I don't think that I could get better, but it is that based on the other things in my life, I have made the conscious choice to not invest my time in that aspect of things, in becoming a VTuber and performing in that sense. And that's okay. And that I'm not only comfortable, but very excited to contribute in my own way. That's when I knew I didn't want to be a VTuber, it was the concept of okay, I want to be involved in the community somehow. I want to create content somehow. What can I do that isn't being a VTuber and streaming that would allow me to create, perform, and be involved on my time, on my terms? And a talk show was the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think that's a really creative idea you came up with, and I'm honestly very impressed. That's like a lot of like thinking and problem solving going into like your ultimate decision to make and like host and run and organize a really nice talk show. I think you make an exceptional host for it, so I'm excited to see more of your interviews in the future.
Definitely, and I'm excited to see more of your streams. That you've come a long way since I first saw you, and like usually I can remember how I found someone for the first time, whether it be that I was rated into them or that I saw them on the recommended bar. I cannot for the life of me remember how I saw your streams for the first time, Lulu. I'm glad I did. I just can't remember how.
I think early when I first started, I must have been on like the recommendation bar for a lot of people because people come and be like, "Oh, I was recommended."
That's my guess. That I'm just by statistics, the answer had to have been either the recommendation bar that I was rated into you by someone. But it was one of those things that even back then I was like, "Ooh, she's good at talking."
I don't know about that, but thank you so much.
It's the real CJ. Thank you for the follow. And well, I can definitively prove that you are good at talking because we've been at this for just under 2.5 hours now. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you too much later, so I just have a couple of last questions as we start to wind down. And first off is, do you have any goals for the remainder of 2022? That we are almost exactly halfway through the year now. And you have, one of these sort of standard, well, I suppose not standard, but more common goals is, people say, I want to reach partner. You've done that. You have done that. So that's not one that you can talk about anymore. So whether it be a numeric goal of, a number of followers or viewers, or a more nebulous goal of, I want to improve this type of content, or even an event-based goal, or a production-based goal of, I want to release a new single or an album, or that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to create this thing, that what is a goal that you have for the rest of the year?
I think okay. So one of the biggest goals I'm very I'm close to achieving, or is in the works of achieving. I've always wanted to do music for a rhythm game, and recently I
Mm.
got the opportunity to do music for a physical rhythm game that is in most arcades. That's very exciting.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I'm
hmm,
guessing from the way that you were phrasing all this that it has not been announced yet.
no, not yet. So I'm very excited for that. I'll definitely announce it if or when it happens, like when it gets finalized. But
Mm.
it's very exciting. It's a classic one, and you use your feet for it.
Yep, yep. There's only
Mm, mm.
there's a limited number of those, and they're all pretty big. So
Oh yeah, so I'm very excited for that. I've always wanted to do music for a rhythm game. I'm very excited for posting on YouTube. I plan on doing that soon. With
ooh,
like a VOD
okay.
channel and more song covers on like a main channel.
Yeah, actually, I was checking out
Mm.
um when I was looking at some of the rap collabs with Rustage that you've done,
Mm.
that you've commented on them and been like, I'm glad that I was involved with this. And so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
clicked on
yeah.
the profile and was like, okay, you have no videos on your channel,
No, I don't.
but that you have the channel. And I subscribed to the
Yeah,
channel
I
because I
do,
was like,
I
I want to
do.
subscribe to it just
Oh,
in case
thank
she gets around
you!
to
Oh my
posting
gosh.
something.
Thank
So,
you.
but
Well, my first double will be dedicated to you. Thanks for subscribing.
yeah. But that's super exciting of, being able to be
Mm.
involved in a rhythm game, and one that is, in physical arcades. That's super
Yeah,
cool that, then you can actually have the experience of,
I want to play
incognito,
my own song.
that you can play your own song in an arcade.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool. I'm so excited. I hope that ends up getting finalized and realized.
Mm.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you for your excitement as well. Shared excitement.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the last question, it's one I ask all my
Mm.
guests. What does
Yes.
being a VTuber mean to you? And that is not what is the definition of a VTuber,
Mm.
but to you, Luluna Rina, what does it mean to be a VTuber? And I've had a lot of different answers over the now year and a half that I've done this show. That some people have sort of a clinical answer of, it is a mask that I wear. It is a tool in my toolbox as a content creator. Others have had a very personal approach of VTubing to me is a way to get in touch with my inner child, or it lets me be something that I can't be in real life.
Mm.
And, you know, anything in between or beyond is valid. That there is no right
Mm.
answer here, but I found that if you're going to be a VTuber, it's because you get something from it. Whether it be, whether it be just content as a content creator, or whether you get something deeply personal. That it is a lot of extra work to be a VTuber, and most people wouldn't do it if they don't get something, be it tangible or intangible. So, to
Hmm.
you, Lulu, what does it mean to be a VTuber?
I didn't become a VTuber on my own volition, so I think I will have a very different answer. um. Oh, that makes me sound like I've been held hostage.
Wait a minute. So
So
hold on. Is there a
not
story
really.
here? Because Javelance in the chat
I
here even says she lost a
um
bet. Hold
yeah,
on.
I lost a bet to okay, so um straight out of freshman high school, I got accepted into college. So I went into college instead. But that means I need to have like a dean be like, "Oh, well, she's like a kid. Are you like gonna allow her to get into college, right?" Like so a dean accepted me into this class. I ended up making a friend there, and they were really into VTubers and Keys and I. So we had a bet where if I got an A in the class, I wouldn't have to become a VTuber. But I ended up very slimly during the finals. The prof changed the way the grades were weighted, and I ended up getting a B last second. It was 1 point off of getting an A. I was very close to not streaming.
Whoever
Uh,
that professor is, whoever they are, you need to reach
they
out to them
doomed
and
me.
say that you need to say, I'm sure you were upset with them at the time.
I was
But
like, "Grah!" Because it was one
oh yeah,
1 point, like, little, like, 0.1%
yeah, no,
off of getting
I've
that A.
been there before
I
with grades of
was
just like that. That's the most frustrating because
I
when
was
it's
crushed.
like if it's an 80, an 82 or something, it's
Mm,
like all right, I got the B, whatever. B's not the end of the world, but it's so much more frustrating when it's like I
mhm.
was a half percentage point away from the A. I was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
two
yeah.
exam
I could
questions away
smell it,
from
I
the
could
A.
taste that A. I
That's
felt like it
just
was mine.
but at the
Mm.
same time, you need to contact that professor if you can and say, "Hey, thank you for changing the weighting because in doing so, you set me on this path that would not have happened otherwise. That
Mm.
if it weren't for that
I
professor, you
wouldn't
and
be
I would
making
not be talking right
content.
now."
Yeah, well, if I didn't make a bet with this friend that I'd made in this one class who set up this bet, there would be no way.
But even
Because I
so,
didn't know
so
what VTubers
that's
were
what
back then
started it.
either.
That's what
Yeah.
started it. But I can't
Yes.
believe that that promise was all right. The bet is if I don't get an A, that I have to be a VTuber forever. That
No, 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 it wasn't forever.
yeah.
They
So
just said that I
but
had to
but
give it a try.
but you did,
And
and the fact that you
I
kept
give
going and
everything
that you've gone
100%
this
of my
far. So
mm.
I do ask the question again, even if it wasn't originally because you wanted to, that what made you
I didn't
stay?
want to
What
originally.
made
I
you
was like, this
stay?
stinks.
That
Um,
what is it about VTubing that, did that for you?
um, if I'm being, oh wait, what made me stay for VTubing?
Yeah.
Uh, the other half of the story that I've never told on stream before is that when I bought my first model, um, I got the conversion rate wrong and I went into debt. I know, isn't that
What?
crazy? Yes, yes. Is one of the wildest stories ever. I went into debt, and I was like,
Oh
but,
no.
but VTubing started to take off, and I got more money, and then I also I had a job at the time too, so I got the money back pretty quickly. But in that moment, it was like a oh shit. Because I got the conversion rate wrong, and I was like, okay, well, it's an internet file. I can show proof that I've deleted it or whatever it is, and let's email them to see if we can reverse this. And they're
No,
like,
it
sorry,
doesn't
we
work that
can't do
there. It
that.
does not work that
It's a digital
way.
asset, so
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no.
But I'm here today, not in debt. I got out of that quite quickly, but
That's good.
uh,
But I guess, so but then when you got out of debt that you still kept going afterwards. So
mm,
like
well, I had fun. It wasn't all money purposes, but at the beginning it was. Even though I was very small, I was like, oh, I'm making like a little bit of money. It's worth doing.
mm,
Um, but I enjoy chatting with chat and experiencing new things. It's kind of like what I've said before a lot of the time is I really like talking to people and making friends and connections with people, but there's a limit to how much you can do that. Like you've been in a Discord call, or you've at least seen calls, like group calls on Discord or not, where there's too many people in there. You cannot talk to the same amount of people that you can in a Twitch chat than you can in a voice call. Like voice calls get bad, they get chaotic. You can't speak in in a group call if it's too big. But
that's
on Twitch, you can talk to a wider audience, and honestly,
yeah.
I'm humbled that many people want to chat with me.
I never thought about it from that perspective, but you're
Mm.
absolutely right. Yeah.
If you look at these
And
view counts, like
y-
even 10 people in a voice call, it can get crazy.
yeah, you can't have a 10-person voice call with everyone going at the same
No,
time, but you can
no, you
have it
can't.
when, one streamer and tens, hundreds of people in chat,
Yeah, hundreds of people.
and even if you're not keeping up with every single
Mm,
comment, that you're still going to be able to keep flow with the
mm,
conversation at
mm,
large. And you're right that
mm.
that doesn't work when
It opened
everyone
a
is in a
door,
voice
yeah.
channel.
Mhm.
So that's interesting because for you, basically to recap here, being a
Mm.
VTuber to you started as a bet payoff,
Yes.
became a means to an end after going
Mm.
in debt, but that ultimately
Mm.
now it's socialization.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because I'm an anxious person. I feel like being in person with this many people would make me shit myself. but like,
Well,
but because
I think that anybody trying to hold a conversation with a crowd of
that many people in
even
person too,
20
God,
people in
too
person
much.
is gonna be overwhelming, even for the
Mm,
most extroverted people. That's it. There is something that is so much more palatable and digestible about
mm.
a text chat
It helps
than,
people who are in chat too, because
yeah,
they might be just as afraid in a voice call and they might not speak. But I feel like people can speak their mind and think about what they want to say a little bit better through text or through like a conversation.
yeah,
And I
or
think
even just
streams
being
give you
able
a
to
chance
lurk
to
that, you know,
join if you would like to. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
yeah,
gonna say. Some people like listening.
yeah, that, if you're in a group of 5 or 6 people and
Mm,
if
mm,
you're
mm,
not talking at all,
mm,
and
mm.
just hanging out there for a while, like some
Yeah.
friend groups can get to that point. Some friend groups
Mm,
can get
yeah.
to a point where, someone can just be quiet and just be enjoying it. That's totally fine. But in a like a party social setting or people
Mm,
meeting for
mm,
the first time, that it's a bit less
mm,
common for some person to just be, quote unquote, lurking. Whereas
mm.
in Twitch chat, that's entirely normal and that's entirely, good and encouraged. Lurkers make the world go
Mm,
round. Statistically
mm,
speaking, I think it's about a tenth of viewers will chat, something along those
mm,
lines. That it is not a significant portion. It is
mm,
way,
mm,
way, way less than half, even if that 10% figure is not exact, but it's not a lot. And
mm,
that folks are able to then, socialize that way, whether it be via chat or just enjoy and sit back. And
mm,
for me, um, getting into VTubers, that I mentioned this to you, and I've mentioned this a couple times before on the show, but
mm.
the first VTuber stream I ever watched live was Calliope Mori's debut stream. That
Ah,
she
I
was
see.
the first to debut of Whole Live English, because I had heard about
Mm,
Whole Live from
mm,
some friends, and I was very aware of what VTubing was. But
mm,
most of the creators that I had at least seen on YouTube were Japanese, and
mm, mm,
I
mm.
might see a clip every now and again, but I'm not going to tune into a stream because I can't understand what they're saying, and there
Mm,
aren't
mm,
subtitles
mm.
there. That if there's subtitles
Yes,
after the
yeah,
fact, it's
yeah.
different, but not tuning in.
Mm, mm,
But
mm,
tuning into Callie's debut stream and seeing chat zoom,
mm. Yeah.
it as someone who's into events, and as
Mm,
someone who in late 2020 hadn't been able to be at events for a very
mm,
long
mm.
time, that the feeling of a active, just super hyper YouTube chat was the closest thing I had felt to being at a convention in 8-9 months.
Mm,
And that
mm.
was the initial hope for me. So it was kind of a, it wasn't quite socialization, because even now, like, I'll participate in Twitch chats when it's, even a couple hundred people.
Mm, mm.
I never really engage in, HoloLive YouTube chats. Those are just too busy.
Those are crazy. Yeah.
I'll lurk there. There's no
Mm,
point
mm.
in contributing in there if it's not, if people are
Yeah.
spamming emotes, yeah, I might contribute to the emote spam, but I'm never gonna actually type
Yeah.
out a message in one of those
Mm,
chats. It's not
mm,
worth
mm,
it.
mm.
But that it was similar to me in that sense of, the idea of being able to be part of a large group and sort of experience that social energy.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's neat to hear, one, sort of the journey you went through, and especially that, we had breaking news here on Vtuber Talk tonight, a very first time reveal of the
The panic
accidental
story.
death of Luluna Rina.
It makes me sound reckless.
No, I think I think it is much more comedic than reckless. Of
Hope
that you were
I hope
not
it's endearing.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Because you were not aware that you were going into debt. That if you were aware that you were
No,
and did
I
it,
guess it just shows I'm
that's
really bad
reckless.
with numbers. I'm really bad
Yeah,
with
no,
numbers. When I say I'm
that
bad with
feels
numbers, I mean it.
that at
I should have
worst,
gotten someone to double check. I
at
really should have.
at worst, it is klutzy, but not reckless.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it was interesting. It was a time.
Yeah, but hey, I'm glad you one were able to get out of the debt without too much
Yeah,
trouble,
yeah.
and that you kept with it, and that we made it to here
Mm.
today, and that
Yeah, it's
I
fun. It's
know
fun. I
you're
enjoyed it.
gonna have a lot more in the future. So again, thank you so
Yeah, I hope
much
to get
for
better.
being here. Well,
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's such an honor, and it was so much fun. Thank you.
the honor is mine. And I suppose there is one other question I have, and that is, who would you like us to
Hmm.
raid? That
Oh
find
shoot.
somebody for us to
Oh
raid. Look
shoot.
around, see who's live right now.
Oh shoot. Maybe. Hmm. Well, let me ask. What are you interested in? Are you interested in like, are there any VTubers in specific you like, or do you like artists?
I have interviewed. I don't know if I've interviewed every type of VTuber, but I am as open minded as they come. So I will sort of bounce that one back to you, and I will say, pick someone who you think is a good talker.
A good talker. Oh, that's difficult. Um, trying to think. Hmm. Maybe. Ooh. let me think. Oh, it's so difficult. Probably. Ooh, I would big recommend Isa. I can send you their
Oh, Issa VTuber. I'm
yeah.
familiar with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is she live right now?
She is live.
All right. Yeah. If you could send me a link just to make sure that I spell her channel name correctly.
Yeah.
And
I
don't
got
actually
you. I
send
got
us
you.
to the wrong
I was gonna do
place.
that anyway.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Okay. Issa VTuber. Okay. So I was right on that. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching on YouTube right now, thanks for
Mm.
getting to the end of the video. I appreciate you sticking with it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, click that bell, all that jazz. Yeah, I'm a good content creator, remembering to do those shout outs. But most importantly, even if you're not following me here on whether it be Twitch or Twitter or YouTube, be sure to follow Lulu. That her links are, here at the bottom of the screen. They are going to be down in the Twitch panels if you're watching live.
So
It's going to be in the description of the video if you're watching on YouTube.
Mm.
And one more shout out in the chat for the road.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to VTuber Talk, though. Most importantly.
I said, if you enjoyed this, if you are interested, that I do these shows, like I said, just about once a week. This has been episode number 68 of VTuber Talk. The numbers keep climbing. That's one of the weird things for me, just feeling, oh, wow, I'm almost at 70 episodes. I don't know what I imagined when I started this. I honestly, I just started this, like I said, on a lark, on a whim, and I did it with the knowledge that, yeah, it could become a thing. And I didn't think it was impossible to get here, but it's still kind of weird to see it. And I'm sure that you have, similar feelings of, seeing yourself succeed, that most people think that they are capable of succeeding, that they set out on something with the hope, at least, to succeed. But at the same time, seeing, oh, I've actually done this thing, can be a bit weird. But yeah, so, it's the real CJ says episode 69 will be epic. I hadn't even thought about that. I'm gonna have to figure something out. But yes, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be raiding into Issa at the end of this. I have a little outro I'll be playing, but until next time, stay safe out there. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you again, Lulu. I will see you all next time.